The Dorkening and all affiliated shows are not intended for anyone under the age of 18. The following may contain discussions or scenes that have adult situations, graphic violence, nudity, strong sexual content, and graphic language. This show is intended for mature audiences only. Viewer discretion is advised.
Rise and shine, my sinners. When Father Evil starts his day, he gets a little deadly. Deadly Grounds coffee has the richest, smoothest flavor you'll find anywhere. It's sinfully delicious. Once you go deadly, you never go back. Order yours at getdeadly.com. Coffee's so good, it's scary.
Hey, you dorks, this is Gunnar Hansen, Leatherface from the Texas Chainsaw Massacre, and you are listening to The Dorkening.
Hi, I'm Brian Johnson, and although you probably accidentally stumbled across it and have no idea why you're watching it, you are in fact watching The Dorkening.
Hello, this is Tom Kenny, voice actor, the voice of the Ice King on Adventure Time, and SpongeBob SquarePants. Ah, meow. Oh, Gary the Snail, too. Hey, guess what you're filling your eye holes and ear holes with? The Dorkening! Oh, I love the Dorkening. Very popular in Ooh and Bikini Bottom.
Hi, I'm Lou Ferrigno. You're watching The Dorkening. And you know what? You don't like me when I get angry, so don't get me angry. You better keep watching The Dorkening.
Hey guys, this is Felissa Rose, and you're watching The Dorkening.
Hey guys, it's Courtney Palm. We're shooting Death House, and you're watching The Dorkening.
This is Anthony Michael Hall, and you're watching The Dorkening. Stay tuned. My friend's going to show you what entertainment's all about, baby.
The Dorkening.
The Dorkening. Yeah. Welcome to The Dorkening. Still talking with TwizTD RootZ
and Amber Lalana. Holy shit, this is Ganja Gospel. Shout out to all you guys out there, man. Shout out to the network.
Yes.
You guys rock.
Thank you all for joining for a little enlightenment.
This is episode something, tablet 14.
Yes, we're not really paying attention to episodes.
I don't do all that. Tablet 14, though, of the truth of how it went down. You know what I'm saying? So last time we split up the whole planet. We split the planet and who's going where.
Yes.
And remember, when they went there, they took the me formulas. Remember, Inanna was in charge of, 98 of them bitches? So, yeah, she had all of them. And what these me formulas were it was the knowledge formulas, right? So in the DNA code, they can imprint star astronomy and mathematics and science in that person when they would create them. So then now all those people become smart and all that shit, right? It was kind of like Divergent, right? So each person, each class, like each family had their class of knowledge that they had. So, when they went to these different places and became the gods of old that we're familiar with, they created the people they were in charge of. That's what it's kind of funny because it goes through, you watch all these different movies and it's got all these people creating the worshiping their gods, right? No one ever questioned where those people came from because, we have our story of God created people, God created them. But hold on. The movies aren't about your God. It's not about the one God. They're worshiping gods. So if God created people, well, who created all the people in the movies that they're worshiping those gods? And then like in Greece, who created all those people? If God created people, who created all those people who worship all those gods? Right? So it gets down you can follow this long, twisting, turning, psychedelic rabbit hole of running into just almost like tumbling down a hill. You could keep that question going forever almost, because you're never going to get the answer until you realize that they were all brothers, sisters, cousins, and distant cousins that were all family and banging each other. All these Anunnaki, and then they had children together, right? And those children would spread out to the world. Now we have our story history of, Egypt and, Ra and Osiris and Set and Horus, right? Throughout all of time, there's only been one dude that lost his damn eye. You know what I'm saying? And that we know him as Horus. But then all of a sudden there was a god, the number one big top guy named Odin, who also had no eye and for some reason had these cool ratings. Just the same shit as if you go over, it's the same thing Horus had, right? So Horus was first. Then after all that shit went down with them, they decided to separate the world up. Where'd Horus go? Horus went to the north, just like they wrote it down. He went to the north. He, as a god, he was Anunnaki. He had children. Who do those children become? Man, Loki, Thor, all those people. Those are all his kids, maybe his cousins. You got to follow the pantheon down and match them up with his kids. You move into all the different realms of the world, and it was this exact same way. Wherever you lived, you had a god or goddesses that were in charge and control you, that created you specifically, your civilization, your culture, your people.
And those gods and goddesses moved around the whole earth.
They did. After a while, at first, they took over these areas. And then it was like, hey, man, your people, your fence is on my yard, bro. It's the same bullshit. It literally.
Since the beginning of time.
Literally. The whole neighbor bullshit, it's the same
Grass
thing.
Is greener on this side.
Yeah.
Don't touch my shit.
Hey, man, you're peaching in my side. And guess what? The Anunnaki would be talking. The people are down there. The people are down there doing exactly what they were programmed to do, right? Living their life, doing their sheeple business, right? For the Anunnaki, always for the Anunnaki, right? Then here we have the two Anunnaki. They have a disagreement. Oh, man, I want you to stop fucking putting your people are building buildings on my land. Dad gave this land to me. Literally, if you could hear them fighting you could be one of the Anunnaki, man. You want to smack the shit out of these little bitches. Yeah, for real. That's what it was. And then they said,
for thousands and thousands and thousands of years.
And they said, okay. They made an agreement that they would never actually fight each other ever again, because when they fought each other, they would destroy worlds. When they had weapons that could destroy everything, every living thing, and destroy planets. So they were like, we can't be fucking with each other. But, I bet you if we build a little army and we teach these army cool things, and then, okay, so you get one superhero, like you get one demigod. You know what I'm saying? I'm like telling you, you're on Anunnaki. I'm like, all right, you get one demigod and I get 100,000 guys. You know what I'm saying? What will you give me? What will you give me special? Think about it. Armies had different things.
Oh, yeah, the trade-off.
If a god was behind every army, why wouldn't there just be all super soldiers, just retarded amounts of god shit in there? No. They had to make bonds and pacts with each other, deals. All right, well, if you get a demigod, I get a dragon. And then, okay. But I get archers. All right, cool. I get this. I get boulders. You know what I'm saying? All right, cool. I get lightning. Oh, you want to play like that, bitch? I get fucking water then. You know what I mean? Think about this. This is how they did it. You go through history. See, when I grew up and all through school, I loved history. I was all about learning more about all those ancient cultures. Now, mind you, I always had that idea that aliens created all this shit, right? There's no fucking way in my mind did ever a person like ever build that shit. Like I grew up with big, huge motherfucking. In my time, there was big people. Before my time, there was even bigger people. You know how big people were so big back then? They ate just a straight, think about it. They stopped eating plants and ate straight meat. They didn't live very long, you know what I'm saying? But they were huge monsters. I was just watching this dude on TikTok.
Beefing up that protein, man.
Yep. I was just watching this dude on TikTok. He eats nothing but raw meat. And I'm like, oh, he's going to die soon. But he's huge. Like, he is just a massive dude. And I'm like, that's what they looked like back in the time. You know, like the warriors. They were huge. They were eating buffalo and shit, dude. Think about it, you know.
Full goddamn buffalo in one sitting.
You know what I'm saying? They were eating shit like that. They were eating the animals of the planet, getting huge. You know what I'm saying? And running everywhere, walking everywhere. Maybe they had cars, but I'm just saying. So they would put war to each other, the Anunnaki, but they would use the humans. And
we were their tools yet again.
And at this time, primarily dominating the planet, how they wrote it, how the Anunnaki, no human didn't write that. They said that this supposed to be written by Enki. You know what I'm saying? Said that primarily melanated people dominated this planet. There was a slave race, another slave race, and then there was civilization. That civilization spread out. Those slave races exist to this day on this planet. That's what people don't understand, right? And they call them indigenous people. But go back to the beginning. These were the creations that they created to mine the damn gold. That's the slavery I'm talking about. There's no whippings. Well, maybe they did whip people and stuff like that.
Who knows what they did
but
back then, really.
They originally designed humanity, human beings, to be a tool so they didn't have to work anymore. That's
to
what
mine
they did.
Their gold.
And
to
take care of houses.
I was going to say, and then eventually to take care of them, their houses, their gardens, cook for them, this and that and the other, you know, all that jazz that they didn't have time for because, you know, they were doing their thing.
So when civilization started and they started spreading out across the whole lands, the new lands, because everything melted and shit like that. Now, South America was still mined. South America was being mined like a motherfucker. We can go back until like, I don't know, 1500s or some shit where they were still mining. Well, we're still in the thousands. We haven't even got to 80 yet, supposedly by some time frame.
What did we figure out? We're like,
it's at 1,000 something.
Yeah.
But see, what if the AD and what if the whole AD and BCE, before Christ everlasting and then after death, what if that shit don't exist? Like, we're in 2022, right? So she's reading at a time of 1,000 right now in that last book. She'll read it again here in a second after I get done, blah, blah, blah. And imagine, we never went through a BCE time. We're waiting for a Christ to die, and then now there's going to be start at 1 again.
So that yeah.
It never happened. That didn't happen. See,
we're calculating the BCE time now.
Yes, this is the BCE time they're talking about here because they start building civilization. See, when he says they spread across the land and built civilization, like their planet, for them, 1 year is 3,600 of our years. Civilizations rise and fall. Man, this fucking shit happens. Tons of shit happened to us on 36. We didn't even live 3,600 years supposedly since the dude died on the cross. So just think about that.
Yeah.
Like, look at what's happening.
Like, one of these Anunnaki is like going to wake up from their nightly nap in a couple of hours in their time.
It's crazy.
That's
it's
how
crazy,
it is,
man.
though. It's so insane when you think about the time difference of Anunnaki. That's 3,600 years of ours equals 1 of theirs.
Yep. So Odin became Odin. Everyone spread around. Inanna got the spot she was talking about with fucking where the landing spot was. So she took over Mexico. Okay. She took over Mexico. You can go down there and you can find feathered woman and shit like that. That's who they praise and stuff. People say, oh, that's the Mexican Mary. No, that's Inanna. Well, it is. It's actually, Mary.
Actually,
it's Mary, you know.
It's not, you know, yeah, it is the.
Yep. So they said that Jesus cured the nine demons out of Mary before he let her walk with him, right? Well, the white man says there's 9 gates of hell. The Anunnaki say there's 7. So, you know, she went through those 7 gates and got basically those 7 demons stripped from her, if you take it metaphorically, right? And then rescued Jesus out of that pit. So it's kind of weird if you look at it weird ways. But we're going to hear this last one here and see where it ends up, because we got, you know, Sparta's being created. That's all these people. Like Sparta was literally, it was made from the fucking nut, the semen of one of those Anunnaki. That's why they thought, and when they didn't even think, they knew they were better warriors than everyone else because they were more God than everybody else. Well, they call them God. They were more of the Anunnaki blood. And this is like, if I knew how to create people, she knew how to create people, and like a bunch of you knew how to create people, and we went off into a field, separated in the corners of the field. We started creating people that are little people, you know, like this big. They started building civilization. As soon as my part starts moving up on your part and shit, your people gonna start bitching. Hey man, you're taking our farm. Hey man, you just flooded our fucking shit. Oh, it's gonna be down. You know, we might have a mini purge right in the middle of that field, dude. That'd be kind of cool.
I literally go to like some of these games that you play. They're on Xbox. Xbox.
I want Xbox.
That would be fun. Or on your phone, these games where it's like, you know, you build your castle, you build your civilization. It's a civilization game. It's exactly kind of what comes into my mind when I think about that.
That's the playing God.
You know, we've created it for us to do.
Yeah. In assimilation to be God and the creators. Now, I call them the creators. I don't believe in these beings to be God. Do I believe they have godly powers? Compared to what we have, or to our simple little minds in existence, oh fuck yeah.
Yeah, they are far beyond what we can even conceive in our minds right now, because they are that much more of an advanced race. But they created us. They didn't divine us.
Yeah. Because they were created, and they knew that. They evolved from their creation, but their planet was created. Their whole solar system was created. Their universe was created by what they called the creator of all. I believe in a creator of all. I don't believe in it as a person. I believe frequency can manifest in any form that it really wants to. I believe there's a conscience, a heartbeat, if you will, a smartness to our universe, to our, I don't even want to call it universe. The universe is what's in our existence, our third dimension. You know what I'm saying? What if you go to fourth dimension? It's a whole new universe. You go to fifth dimension, it's a whole new universe. That's what I'm saying. It's supposed to be like 12 or something like that. So that's what I believe in. I don't believe in a flat earth. I believe in a flat plane of existence. But in that flat plane, it's small to frequency, because there's millions of them for frequency. There's tons of the different little, it's like a guitar, strumming a guitar. All those little chords is a different universe in our realm. So then you go in that realm. Different
combinations and possibilities.
Exactly.
And like, you know, when you think of how many times can you make a new phone number out of 1 through 9 type of thing. It's like endless possibilities, you know, it's like the same kind of thing. Frequency.
Yeah. I don't believe that the beings that created us are God or gods. I don't believe they are godly like. I don't believe they have godlike powers. I don't believe any of that. I believe that they knew magic just like they wrote. I believe what they wrote and said they believed in. You know what I'm saying? Why wouldn't I? Why would I believe, and why would I say that they're lying? Why would I say that they didn't believe in a God? They didn't believe in God. They didn't know, they knew that they weren't gods. They believed in a creator of all, fate and destiny, which is taught. It's taught in the Bible, and supposedly Ningazita was the first one that really put the Bible all together. I don't really know about that because that's Thoth, because the Bible's one thing and Ningazita really taught some other shit. But the Bible is, if you read it one way, it's one thing. If you read it the other way, it's another thing. But if you read that fucker the right way, it literally has ascension written all through it, right? But it's the book of lies because you're looking at it through sheeple eyes. That's why. When you look at it in the sheeple way, how they tell you to read it, you're lost. You're lost. Your prayers are going to whatever entity you think you're praying to, and it's designed. And if you look into spirituality and any work, energy work, they'll show you in our electrical system how it's made to filter and go straight to whatever you're praying to. Not saying you shouldn't pray. You should pray for yourself.
But
your
yeah,
own
be aware.
energy.
Don't blindly give your energies to beings that you don't know much about. Oh, only what something says or whatever the case.
Yeah.
Like you want to know where your energy is going. So
there's dark ones on this planet. Okay. We call them demons. They're not what you think they are. They're not what you've been told they are. They've always been on this planet, right? Some are nice, some are mischievous, just like everybody. There's always a good and a bad, yin and a yang, a 6 and a 9. How do you do that? Damn, I had it the other day.
I don't know, but there's always, even the Anunnaki spoke about the spirits that were here before them. So when we talk, and anybody talks about earth spirits and you know elemental spirits, dark spirits of the earth and things like that, that's no lie, because they have been here from the get-go, essentially. Like the Anunnaki, they were here when they got here. So and they were real for them. So be sure that they are still real now today.
Still real. They never killed them. They said there was a Titans War, some kind of fucking Titans War and stuff like that. That's all mixed up. That's all mixed up. So supposed to be the War of the Titans won by Zeus, right, of Greece. Well, the last episode you just heard is when they split up into all those areas to go start creating all those places like Greece. So none of that shit ever happened. And we've already heard about giants. We've heard about the fallen angels that came down, mated with the women of the world, of earth, and made, what do they call them? Atrocities. They call them monsters or something. They made huge giants that were 450 feet or meters tall. 450 L or 3,000 L, which is, I think, 450 feet tall. Or meters, whatever it was. They were super tall. They were basically as tall as the redwoods or taller. You know what I'm saying? Probably taller than that. And we went through, we've been through all these things, and they match up pretty damn close with what our Bible says, And there's never those huge titans they're talking about. There were never 6 foot tall people against things that were the size of mountains in those times. Like the beings that we were talking about here were already giants. And then they created people that were like 15 foot tall. It's just, we look at their pictures and think one thing, So if they were giants and we're only 6 feet tall, then they must have been 12 because we're half the size of them. What if we were 12 feet tall? That would make them 24 feet tall. See, Adam lived on this planet for 54,000 years. 54,000 years, they said. Not he said, they said. Enki, Lord Enki, the dude who actually created people with Nimma. With Nimma.
This guy.
Yeah.
The guy that wrote this all down and said, "Here, this is what the fuck happened." Just so you know.
Nimma. So in here, in these writings that were buried, these were basically buried, lost in a cave, and they were writings that they told them to bury them, to bury this knowledge, so future people could find it. And we can trace all these names, and they line up. They line up completely to all the people. Like Nimma changed their name several times. You know what I'm saying?
A lot of them changed their name several times.
Several times, because the language got split up.
Mm-hmm.
They did a what? They put an incantation on us, on the human population, to change our language so we could never take counsel with each other and shit. We never know what each other is saying and shit. We couldn't understand, couldn't learn their languages until later, right? We learned how to speak to each other. That's why when people will go to war with each other, I always see, they always said there was a war in heaven. And behind the veil, if you could see behind the veil, there was invisible gods in the sky fighting along with the warriors on the ground. That was never true. They were back here going like this and pulling the strings and shit. And you guys were, those modern day humans were just fighting. And each people didn't speak the same language. So it never mattered. They could never, ever talk to each other. It would never matter that it says, hey, man, my God's this guy. And his name's this, and he says to kill you guys. Oh, wait a minute. My God's this name. And wait, his last name's exactly the same thing. Like, wait, what's going on here? No one could ever question. They just did. Someone would say, hey, they're stealing your sheep. You know, they were gods. They were gods. So why couldn't they just come down and slaughter everybody, slaughter a whole village, and make it look like the other guys did it? Just start wars. That's what happens. You can track that through time. Through time, you can watch these wars that don't make no fucking sense through nobody. Then we got religious wars that start up, which my whole point with it is you can track these guys throughout time until today, right? Long live the king. The queen has died, right? So today's 9/11. Rest everyone's souls that died in
Seriously.
the 9/11 event. Today, the queen is being buried, right? So she got resurrected yesterday, and now they're burying an empty corpse, empty shell of her corpse, right? So if you follow these dynasties, and then you got to go in history, because I think this part stops, and you got to go throughout history and pick up all those wars, knowing where these Anunnaki, or so-called gods, started building cities, you'll know exactly where they were and who they were in charge of based on where they were in our history, in our map, right? So then you can follow those nations who wiped out who, because that's how it all went down. There used to be a lot of fucking people on this planet, lots of little tribes, lots of fucking nations. And then wars would happen, and then people got wiped out and taken as slaves, or you became Rome. You became part of the British Empire. You know what I'm saying? That's in our times. But I mean, keep following that back. You're going to get back into the Anunnaki days in Jesus, and you're going to be like, holy shit, wait a minute. So let me scroll forward a little bit. These motherfuckers are still in charge. You're going to die. Like when they're all bitching about the England and shit. They ain't in charge, bro. Like, man, come on now. They ain't in charge, dude. Just like nobody was ever in charge. The Anunnaki were in charge. But then what happened? What do we know about the Bible? God passed down kingship from heaven. They said they did that. They didn't want to be in charge anymore. They were like, hey, man, Anu came for the last time. He came, landed on the Temple of the Rock, and said, hey, man, that's cool. This place is dope. And let these humans be, man. We read about it. They fixed their atmosphere. Their atmosphere was fixed. They had plenty of gold to last them forever, right? And so Anu said, teach them, give them kingship, teach them how to be a king, so that way the one king could rule over all of them and keep them in line. And then teach the priests how to sheeple the people to get them to worship us as gods. That was what he said to do. So all of them went about that. You get an order from your commander. If you're not in the military, this is how it goes. You get an order from your commander, you take it, right? The order's the order. How it gets done is up to you, motherfucker. You know what I'm saying? I got to go to my people, my ragtag motherfuckers, and say, hey, listen, so this is what we got to do. How can we get this done? Well, I could do this. Well, you got a retarded guy over here smoking weed. She's like, well, I got the Farmz on hand. But then, things get fucked up by each individual. See what I'm saying? So that's what we were dealing with back then. So next thing you know, we got kings happening. And how did they make kings? They didn't just pick out the crowd. They grabbed a guy or a family, altered the DNA, right? Or else they would make a new child with one of the earth childs, right? One of the earth women, they would grab them, they would bang them. They always say they poured their semen into them. And then I came in them and then knew them. That literally means they had sex. They came in them to make a child. That's what that means. It's why it's not a porno. It's not like, oh, give me that fucking money shot, baby. It's not that. I came in you means I gave you a child. There was no sex and, oh, let's have sex 50,000 times and you may never get pregnant. No, they got pregnant the first time.
It was automatic almost.
Yeah.
Like if we're gonna do it, you're having a child.
You had a kid.
Either that or they never said any other time when they didn't.
Exactly.
So,
well, they would say,
they
would say, I kissed her, but I did not go into her.
Exactly.
Like I did not come into her. Like the meaning there was no child going to come out of that relationship. That's the clue they give us, right? So, he gave us those instructions to the commanders. The commanders went down and they were like, oh, I'm going to teach these priests that I'm the head god, right? Well, I'm going to teach these priests that I'm the one and only God. A couple of them picked off like that. And all the other ones were like, what? You can't do that, man. That's fucked up, bro. We're supposed to teach them that we're the gods. Like, I'm a goddess of this. You're a god of that. Like, no, I'm the one God. That's why in our history you got Akhenaten, right? And who's that? Who's Akhenaten? Who's Akhenaten? Come on, guys.
I don't know who Akhenaten is. Who's Akhenaten?
So Akhenaten.
I'm high.
That's Marduk's son. Okay. Akhenaten's Marduk's son. Marduk tried to take over the role of the one supreme sun god. What did they do to Akhenaten? What did they do to your Jesus? What did they do to those two characters in history? Right? What did they do to Anunnaki? Where was Jesus? Where was Jesus before his father called him home? Right? That's what they wrote. It was in the desert, right? Where was he? He was in Egypt, wasn't he? He was in Akhenaten. Your fucking Jesus that died on the fucking cross is Akhenaten. What was his name? What was Marduk's son's name? Is this Marduk's son, you guys?
I don't remember all the names. I'm only remembering some. Not good with it.
It was like
so many names to remember.
Aten. I think it was Aten because I keep wanting to call him Utu, but that's Inanna's brother. I think it was Aten, and that's Akhenaten, dude. That's him. So Akhenaten from Egypt was actually Jesus, who you think died on the cross, right? So they killed Akhenaten for saying there was only one God. What did they do to Jesus? Right? So they got the story of Jesus' resurrection and everything from Dumuzi, who was promised to be the basically his legacy of him dying and being resurrected and shit was promised to be worshipped in a land of two towers, right? And then we got Marduk's kid dying on a cross because they crucified his ass. This is the same time, people. Rome was a thing at this time, right? So you got Marduk's kid dying. Marduk wants to be that one supreme god, right? He already knows his little brother Dumuzi is going to be the one who that story is going to reflect in this new territory with these two towers. So they married the two stories together, right? To make it a trinity. You see what I'm saying? They put it together. Now we got the story of Dumuzi mixed up with the story of Akhenaten. It's insane, right? And then next thing we know, we got this woman over here looking all fucking cute and shit.
What?
Who? So most people think, you know, yeah, you guys ever watch Hercules and shit? What time are they talking about? What year do they say? You know what I'm saying? When Hercules goes around and does his deeds, don't you see other armies, other castles, other kings and shit? See what I'm saying? It was in the year that they put to count the people, like 400, 200, something like that. Let's see.
So cheers to everybody while he takes a break searching. Thank you all for joining us. We've got a nice big crowd today. Ikmo J, welcome. Loving your comments and your additions. Thank you for the knowledge. That is really awesome. And Drum Beats Offline, welcome. I wonder how dank their weed was. Well, they're the ones that brought it to us, so I guarantee you it was the dankest.
Okay, so yeah, recently most people say cannabis is a flower, and I always say cannabis is a fruit. It's the fragrant cane. It's the fruiting, fragrant cane. And everyone, not a lot of everyone, but a lot of people want to argue with me and stuff like that. But plant classification actually just came out on cannabis, and they just now classified it as a botanomedical fruit. A fruit body. And I was like, yep, exactly what I fucking been saying this whole damn time.
They brought the fruit that sustained them and satiated them and got them nice and happy.
And that was the cannabis. All right, so the earliest evidence that shows the worship of Hercules in popular cult was in 6th century BCE. 121 to 122 and 160 to 165 via an ancient inscription. Okay, so we're in the 1000s now. Sorry, I got a wild nose here. But any more of that?
No, I'm good.
Okay, so they were making these demigods this whole time, right? It was only when they passed down the kingship from heaven did they change from counting from Shar to year one.
Mm-hmm.
Year 1 BCE, before Christ everlasting.
Do you remember how many Shars or whatever had gone by up until? I know they said it, but we'd have to dig.
I think at least 150. I think around 180.
It was like a lot.
Way over 100.
And times that by 3,600 of each of our years comparatively. So they've been here a long ass time.
Yep. They've been here hundreds and hundreds of thousands of years. Lord Enki literally watched monkeys evolve into walking humans that held tools. That's what he said. He watched this.
Couple Shars that he was like hanging out. That was like a good.
Well, it was 50 Shars, I think, and it was 144,000 years that he watched. He walked the earth.
Say that, yeah.
He labeled everything, all the plants, all the animals. He went through and looked at all the medicine that was on our planet. You know, he was doing stuff. He created people.
He's working.
Yeah, he created people and shit like that. So, you know, before
he's
that,
taking stock of what the hell is on this damn planet.
Exactly.
That's what he's doing.
And what else was he doing? He was making chimeras, motherfucker.
Oh, yeah.
She was making the griffin and the fucking big, huge monsters that we know of in our tales. He made these things.
Those were the things that he was experimenting with and splicing
Before
because he
humans.
knew a little bit of a scientific thing and he liked to play around.
Yep.
And he saw a lot of cool things on this planet that he could play around with. And he made all of our mythology creatures way back in the day.
One of his inventions is written. It's drawn on the Egyptian hieroglyph walls. It's supposedly what they go through when they get dead or whatever. It's got like the head of a crocodile, like the body of like a bear or something like that. The front feet of like a jaguar or something like that, and the back feet of like a bird, something like that. It's this supposedly mythological creature until you learn that this dude made 4 parts of one creature, hind parts of another, but yet a head of yet another creature, and wings of something else. They described it.
You know, he's just putting shit together, whatever looks cool to him or whatever functionality he wanted to put to it, I suppose. Like, I need something that can bite hard, rip something apart with its claws too, be able to jump really high and fly.
Yeah. Imagine knowing how to be able to do that, how to be able to splice animals together.
No shit,
and
though.
So imagine you don't know if it's going to work. So like, well, let me see if it works. And it works. So you're like, well, let me see what kind of fucking crazy shit I can make. That's why there's writings of a lion with a goat facing the other way. Why would the goat face the other way on the back of a lion? That makes no fucking sense to me, right? But the lion's got a bull body.
I just got one question.
Lord Enki made that.
Where's the food going? Like, there's no poop shoot in that one.
I don't know, but it's written that they wrote all these. Lord Enki walked the earth like Gandalf. You know what I'm saying? He was fucking what's his face? Merlin to fucking, you know, England. All these people, he probably wasn't, but I'm just saying he was that wizard. They knew witchcraft. They did spells, right? They learned root cutting. They knew root cutting. They taught it, all of it to Mandy. They taught the astronomy, all the constellations, all of your so-called sacred sacred geometry, your numbers that you have for like the gods and stuff. Maybe not your sacred geometry 369, because that's universal stuff, but like your god numbers and stuff like that. That's all them. There's nothing outside of them in those numbers, right? That is all them. That means and if you research who them are, you're going to find the Anunnaki from a different planet that goes around our sun, not like the universe. God, why would God do that? Oh, because the creation's on Earth? What do you mean? So now you're admitting that God's an alien from a different planet, but he sticks around on a different planet because his creation's on Earth. Well, that don't make no sense. That don't make no damn sense. What's he doing with all the rest of the aliens? Who created them? Right? The same frequency, the same vibrational pattern happened on other planets. And they came together to make whatever life forms they want to be according to the laws of the bubble. You call it maybe a firmament. But it got all twisted, man. It got all twisted. There's so many different things. Like, people think the devil is some man with a pitchfork
and horns
and pointail, and really she's got big titties and sits on a throne waiting for you to come down there and kiss her boots.
She's a woman.
She's going to kiss your camel toe. And, you know, that's the king, the queen of the devil, you know, the queen of the underworld. They didn't call themselves devils or Satan.
We are using that word.
There was no word for that. There was, in human time, they made a word for the adversary, right? And that was Satan. They made a word for that, right? So it was just called adversary. So you went against somebody. They would probably be like, you know, it's just like if you go to work and 222, just like you go to work and like you know, your boss tells you to do something you don't want to do, but you're like upper management, but your CEO is like up above you, and he tells you something you don't want to do, and you're like, but. Imagine that's like the little things they got to go through and shit. It's kind of funny to me when I look at it. We make it seem like it's so holy and so righteous, right? And yeah, they're powerful. They're super powerful. But guess what? You strip this little bitch ass flesh away. The flesh is weak, right? The soul is everlasting. That's what they want, is your energy, right? So if you strip this flesh away from me, I'm as powerful as them now. Oh, I'm just waiting. They know not to come and strip me down. You better not smite me. And it's no power. They have a smiter. It's a weapon. You ever see that weapon? It goes on one end, and then the other end goes two. It's up there, and you can hold it in your hand. That's the smiter. That's the great smiter.
Smite. They did make something that is called the smiter. It literally smites you.
Yeah.
So I think maybe we should get into what happened last week. I mean,
exactly.
He's been going on. Literally, this is what has happened in the entire book, and what we've learned from the get-go of the book in pieces and piecemeal throughout. So a little recap, absolutely, for the final tablet.
He's got a two-handed smiter.
Mm-hmm.
Trying to find a good picture of what it looks like. There was a faraway picture.
Mm-mm.
You can read, baby.
Oh, okay. I thought you wanted to do the picture.
I'll show them when I find it.
All right. So last week, the 13th tablet, the royal cities sprout with sacred precincts for the gods. This is when godships started, essentially. Demigods serve as kings and priests in palaces and temples. Marduk promises his royal followers an eternal afterlife. That's basically going to heaven. Okay.
There you go.
And Sumer, Inanna encourages belief in resurrection. So completely against probably what Marduk wants, I'm guessing.
One second. This is last week, right?
This was last week in the 13th tablet. This was
so Marduk sheeples his followers in Egypt to believe that there's an afterlife. When he had his son, supposedly Jesus, right? Supposedly the true path of Jesus was the enlightenment. He was discovering enlightenment by becoming a master yogi, right? See, that was Dumuzi. Dumuzi did that, not the other way around. But so he sheepled all his people into thinking there was an afterlife. So when they died, they would pray to him, and they would go through a whole ritual shit because they spellcraft on, and all the power would go to him. See what I mean? Go ahead, Dave.
Celestial omens and foretelling oracles gain followings. Marduk proclaims the coming age of the ram as his sign. Ningizida builds stone observatories to show otherwise. It's like, no.
So that's Thoth, right? Ningizida is Thoth. Ra's, remember, Ningizida used to be Ra, the sun god. Not proclaiming there was only one. That was when the gods of Egypt, watch that movie. That's the time I'm talking about, when Ningizida was supposedly Ra. So when they all went up there, Horus and Set and all that shit, Ningizida was their grandfather, right? That's Thoth. Ra took over. What happened?
I just want to say Ra is not necessarily a name. It is used in tandem, but it is also a title. So he had the title of Ra, which is ruler, essentially. So not to, just in case people are getting confused.
Yep, he was the sun god.
But they also use it in tandem as a name. They are known as Ra. They are called Ra because they are that title of Ra.
Exactly. So then Marduk became Ra. I forget how
he proclaimed himself Ra. He said,
Yeah.
"Nah, I'm Ra."
But see, Thoth stepped down though. Thoth
He
left.
said, "Fine," because Marduk had like a big following already, kind of
Yeah.
thing. I think it was.
So then he sheepled his people with Akhenaten, your Jesus, to go down there and proclaim that there is only one God, the sun god Ra. And then we know through our history that whole shit was overthrown. They kicked Akhenaten out, killed his ass, cut down all his fucking statues, destroyed everything he ever fucking tried to do. What would Ra do about that? Where'd Ra go? Well, we're gonna find out where Ra went and where he went back to, actually. You know what I'm saying?
Insurrections, wars, and invasions destabilize Enlilite lands. The mystery emissary appears to Enlil and foretells a calamity, instructs Enlil to select a worthy man to lead survival. Enlil chooses Ibrum, scion of priestly royal family. Armies raised by Nabu attempt to seize the spaceport, overruling Enki.
Nabu. That's his name. Nabu. That's Marduk's son.
Marduk's son, yeah. Overruling Enki, the gods resort to weapons of terror. And we learned all about those. Those were some ugly weapons.
Releasing the evil wind that put everyone underground for long enough that when Africans came out of that ground, out from underneath, they said that that was their creation story, that they came out of the ground. Go look that shit up. It's on, what's that one? Laura Croft, Tomb Raider, Origin of Life, or whatever it was, Cradle of Life.
The Cradle of Life one, yeah.
That's a true story, though. That was what we thought from biblical, because we followed science and Bible. We thought that was the truth until all of a sudden we find all these writings way before any Bible was ever fucking a dream in anybody's twinkle, right? I mean, shit. And then you read these stories that were way, way before the Bible was ever written. And it's like, wow, but wait, these are the stories of the Bible. So wait, the people in the Bible days knew about this shit. They knew about what happened. They lived it. They lived for thousands of damn years. Shit, they had to fix us so we died off fucking sooner.
Ninurta and Nergal obliterate the spaceport and sinning cities. The drifting nuclear cloud brings death to all in Sumer.
And it did.
So that was last week. Basically, the world died again. First by the flood, now by the death cloud.
Well, except for one spot, one area wasn't affected, and that's where Marduk was able to go. And it said it was where he was at this whole time, where they had beat his ass before. So wherever the fuck that was.
So, synopsis of the 14th and final tablet of the Lost Book of Enki. Babili, Marduk's chosen center, survives the calamity. Enki sees it as an omen of Marduk's inevitable supremacy. Enlil ponders the past, fate, and destiny, accepts Marduk's supremacy, retreats to faraway lands. Basically, Marduk won. The brothers bid a sentimental goodbye. Enki sees the past as a guide foretelling the future. He decides to commit all as a record for posterity, which is what we just read.
Yep.
Colophon by the scribe and Dupsar, and that's who wrote it. So the 14th tablet, guys.
Yeah, I can't find one.
It's a short one. It's short and sweet. It's only a few pages long.
Are you guys ready for this?
But this is the end and the beginning of basically what you could say was our modern day religion.
Yep, exactly what it is. And you're going to find out who you're really following. You know what I'm saying? Lots of people think that you're following this guy or that guy or God. You know what I'm saying? But there's, Inanna's still in the running here. She's fighting hard to be that fucking person in charge. And to a lot of witches, she is.
She is. The 14th tablet. Babili, where Marduk supremacy declared by the evil wind was spared. All the lands south of Babili, the evil wind devoured. The heart of the second region it also touched. When, in the aftermath of the great calamity, Enlil and Enki to survey the havoc met, Enki to Enlil, the sparing of Babili is a divine omen considered.
Babili, what's that, Babylon?
Could have been a new Babylon of sorts, Babili.
Oh, yeah, that's Babylon.
Mm-hmm.
That's Babylon, people.
So it's the only thing that survived this thing that went across the whole fucking earth.
No wonder why they don't like Babylon. You know what I'm saying? Because they think that that was the only place not touched and they were better than everybody. But really, that's not what it was, man.
That Marduk to supremacy has been destined. By the sparing of Babili is confirmed. So did Enki to Enlil say. The will of the creator of all, it must have been, Enlil to Enki said. Then to him the dream vision and prophecy of Galzu Enlil revealed. If that by you was known, why did you use the weapons of terror, not prevent? Enki him asked. My brother, Enlil to Enki was with a sorrowed voice said, enough seen was the reason. Whenever, after your coming to earth, the mission by an obstacle obstructed was, away the obstruction to circumvent we have found. Of that, the fashioning of the earthlings, the greatest solution. Also the fountain of a myriad unwanted twists and turns was. When you have the celestial cycles fathomed and the constellations assigned, who in them the hands of destiny could foresee? Who could between our chosen fates and our unbending destiny distinguish?
What did you say, the fountain of myriad?
A myriad.
What's that all about?
Also the fountain of a myriad unwanted twists and turns. Basically, a fountain of twists and turns. It's just an onslaught of twists and turns.
Okay. Pouring out.
Yeah.
And it has been.
Yeah.
But you notice Enlil, he has a wife on the Enlil ship. He's never, ever, ever taken a human son. Never. Okay. So he can't be Zeus.
Who false omens proclaimed, who true prophecies could pronounce. Therefore, to keep to myself the words of Galzu, I decided. Was he truly the creator of all's emissary? Was he my hallucination? Let whatever has to happen, happen. So to myself I said.
Yeah.
To his brother's words, Enki listened. His head up and down he nodded. The first region is desolate. The second region is in confusion. The third region is wounded. The place of the celestial chariots is no more. That is what has happened, Enki to Enlil said.
So hold on 1 second. So they just described right there that a couple places are completely fucked up. Other places they're all confused and shit because they're displaced. I guarantee you they're displaced. It fucked them all up and they don't know what's happened. I bet you they're underground, right? And then all the rocket ships are gone. The places where they could take off, right? Not where they could land, right? We're earthlings. We live here. The fuck? We don't have a spaceship.
We have nowhere to go. They all took the fuck off because they could.
Yeah, exactly. That was our thing. Marduk was teaching us how to get on the spaceship and take off and go out into space. They were like, fuck this planet, bro. There's space, bro. Let's go to space. Marduk was teaching us that. And they were like, no, you can't be doing that, bro. I'm going to blow up every one of the spaceports. So everywhere that they could launch off and go into space, they blew up all that and the spaceships and everything. And now only thing they had was the landing pads where you can come and land. I know it probably doesn't make no sense. What's the difference? Blah, blah, blah. They actually had control systems in there, tablets of destiny, shit like that. Like they took it away from us. Go ahead, baby.
If that was the will of the creator of all, That is what of our mission to Earth remained. By the ambitions of Marduk was the seed sown. What the crop resulted is for him to reap. So did Enlil to his brother Enki say. Then he, the triumph of Marduk, accepted. Let the rank of 50, by me for Ninurta intended, to Marduk instead be given. Let Marduk over the desolation in the regions his supremacy declare. As for me and Ninurta, we will in his way no longer stand. To the lands beyond the oceans we will depart. What we had, all had come for. The mission to obtain for Nibiru gold we will complete. So did Enlil to Enki say. Dejection was in his words. Would different matters have been were the weapons of terror unused? Enki his brother challenged. Should we have the words of Galzu to Nibiru not return heeded? Enlil retorted. Should Earth mission been stopped when the Anunnaki mutinied? I, what I did. You, what you did. The past undone cannot become. Is not in that too a lesson? Enki asked them both. Is not what on Earth happened, what on Nibiru had taken place mirrored? Is not in that tale of the past the outline of the future written? Will mankind in our image created, our attainments and failures repeat? Enlil was silent. As he stood up to leave, Enki to him his arm extended. Let us lock arms as brothers, as comrades who together challenges on an alien planet confronted. So did Enki to his brother say, and Enlil, grasping his brother's arm, hugged him as well. Shall we meet again on Earth or on Nibiru? Enki asked, was Galzu right that we die if we to Nibiru go? Enlil responded. Then he turned and departed. Alone was Enki left. Only by the thoughts of his heart was he accompanied. How it all began and how it thus far ended, he sat and pondered. Was it all destined, or was it fate by this and that decision fashioned? If heaven and earth by cycles within cycles regulated, what had happened will again occur? Is the past the future? Will the earthlings the Anunnaki emulate? Will Earth relive Nibiru? Will he, the first to arrive, the last to leave, be? Besieged by thoughts, Enki a decision made. All the events and decisions, starting with Nibiru to this day on Earth, to put in a record, a guide to future generations to become. Let posterity, at a time by destiny designated, the record read. The past remember, the future as prophecy understand. Let the future of the past, let the future of the past the judge be. These are the words of Enki, firstborn of Anu of Nibiru.
Can you read that part again? That's the ending part. The one, go back. That whole piece, because we're going to tear this apart for a second. Where it started with his thoughts. So first of all, here we got Enki and all these different people, Enlil and everybody. They're talking. They're like, all right, Marduk wins. Let Marduk reign supreme in this whole area. So then here comes the esoteric religion, right? Where people worship the winged disc, right? So that's Marduk. He's a bull, and then he's standing up, and he's half bull, half man. That's Marduk. He owned all of Iraq, every fucking thing. He owned it all, right? It was the same thing with like all of his kings in that kingdom, right? All of them were under Marduk. They all worshipped what they called God, right? Or Allah, or whatever the hell they were calling God at those times, right? But that whole entire region that all fought each other for all those thousands of bloody years over their God was better, was all Marduk the whole time. It was Marduk saying, I'm the God, one God in that area. It just says it. They gave up.
They did.
They said, all right, well, we're just going to go over to the new area across the great ocean.
Yeah.
We're going to keep up the mining.
So they have been here mining somewhere on this planet since.
Oh no, North and South America. That's the only place they were talking about. Hello, place across the Great Ocean. Unless they went to Antarctica.
Unless they went to Antarctica.
But I believe Antarctica at that time was frozen. I believe at that time Antarctica was frozen, right? So they went to where in South America, where the feathered serpent was known as to be the god, Quetzalcoatl or whatever, and they said it. She'll reread it again. They wanted to continue Mission Earth, right? Mission Earth. What was Mission Earth? Come to Earth, get a whole bunch of gold, and fix our atmosphere. That's all they was supposed to do. I mean,
but they didn't want to work.
It took hundreds of shars to complete this mission, which was hundreds of thousands of our years, right? So say if we set off on a mission, a 200-year mission to go out and, mine somewhere for 200 years and go and build something, right? That would be the equivalent of what they did. They went somewhere to a whole different place, a whole foreign place, none of their home amenities, right? Mined our planet, but then eventually made people, but it was still Mission Earth the whole time. That's why they said all these twists and turns away from the original thing we were supposed to be doing. Anu was like, what the fuck, you guys? What do you guys run? What is this shit? Where you got feathers in your hair and shit? What the fuck? You got beads and shit? Where those bones? Where those gauges and shit? It was weird to them, but it was our planet. This is our planet. They grabbed cool things they found around here and they became more primitive, right? On their planet, it was a totally different situation. That's why he says what he says, and you're going to hear it here. That's how you found it.
Alone, I did, and then I lost again. Alone was Enki left, only by the thoughts of his heart was he accompanied. How it all began and how it thus far ended. He sat and pondered. Oh shit.
Where they go to the other land. It's here.
Oh, okay. So basically when they gave it up to him.
Yeah.
Okay,
yeah,
gotcha. Yeah. All right. By the ambitions of Marduk was the seed sown. What the crop resulted is for him to reap. So did Enlil to his brother Enki say.
So Enlil said that to Enki, that Marduk has been so ambitious about being the leader, and he sowed these seeds a long time ago. All the people followed him. All the people were following him as the one God. So they're like, fuck it, let's go.
Mm-hmm. Then he, the triumph of Marduk, accepted Enki as well. Let the rank of 50, by me, for Ninurta intended, to Marduk instead be given. Let Marduk over the desolation in the regions his supremacy declare. As for me and Ninurta, we will in his way no longer stand.
Exactly. So they gave up. They said, we're no longer going to challenge you. All those wars that were happening with the different cultures, but it was really brother to brother, or Enlil Ninurta versus Marduk the whole time fighting with each other, and they were using the people. Now they said, okay, I'm done. So Ninurta and Enlil left kingship of those cities. Now they're all worshiping Marduk. I bet they never even knew it.
Oh, definitely not. The mission to obtain for Nibiru gold we will complete.
There you go. So they're still trying to get the gold.
So did Enlil to Enki say. Dejection was in his words. Would different matters have been were the weapons of terror unused? Enki, his brother, challenged. Should we have the words of Galzu to Nibiru not return heeded? Enlil retorted. Should Earth mission be stopped when the Anunnaki mutinied? What I did. You what you did. The past undone cannot become.
So the Earthlings mutinied. Just like we try to build a Tower of Babel to get out into space. Flat Earthers, what do you think? You're just going to like build a tower up there and step out into space and fucking die. I mean, hello, it wasn't a tower, it was a spaceport they were trying to build so they can launch ships off that motherfucker, because Marty was teaching us how to build spaceships. That's why we have the Veda text, right? So then we were rebelled further after that, right? We rebelled and we're like, fuck this shit. We want to go into space, man. We want to be gods like you. And they were like, nah, you're earthbound. That's why if you go through our history and people have gone into space and they said they heard voices that said, you're not ready for space. Go back to Earth, blah, blah, blah. They don't want us in space.
Is not in that too a lesson? Enki asked them both. Is not what on earth happened, what on Nibiru had taken place mirrored? Is not in that tale of the past the outline of the future written?
Okay, hold up right there. So, was not what happened on Earth, not what happened on Nibiru in the past? So they're literally saying
they uprose against each other on Nibiru and did the same fucking shit.
Same shit happened there. Then it was
different people, different age.
It was repeated on Earth, right? So it's like
you just got people who want to be on top and are just going to move everything out of their way to do it.
Yep. they built the kind of structures that they knew how to build, which was pyramids, right? And then they fucking made Nibiru here. We heard it through this whole damn lesson, this whole book. When people would come here from Nibiru, they'd be like, oh, it's so beautiful, but man, it looks just like Nibiru. This is crazy. Like how much like home it is here. This is nuts. The animals were different. The trees and shit were different, but they kept saying how much it reminded them of being home. It was exactly the same. All infrastructure was exactly the same.
Will mankind, in our image created, our attainments and failures repeat?
There you go.
Enlil was silent. As he stood up to leave, Enki to him his arm extended. Let us lock arms as brothers, as comrades who together challenges on an alien planet confronted. So did Enki to his brother say, and Enlil, grasping his brother's arm, hugged him as well. Shall we meet again on Earth or on Nibiru? Enki asked. Was Galzu right that we die if we to Nibiru go? Enlil responded. Then he turned and departed. Alone was Enki left, only by the thoughts of his heart.
1 second. So here they are. Imagine you spent like hundreds of shars, hundreds of thousands of years. You've seen so much happen. You've created so much. You've got, like for Enlil, he got banished for rape and then ended up marrying his rape victim, and now that's his wife that we hear about the whole goddamn time. That's his wife, Queen of Heaven. And they find nukes, they blast through the hammered bracelet, which is the firmament. They're the ones that create everything we know today, right? They create what we call the constellations. They line them up and name them, right? They name the Milky Way, right? They name all these different things. They put up all these different things all around the world and start marking on them for us to like follow astronomy and shit like that, right? So they teach so much. All this shit's happened. Imagine you're standing at the end. It's like going to summer camp and shit. And then you're standing there with the buses. Everyone's like shaking hands. And imagine the feeling though.
You may or may not ever see that person again.
Imagine it's like over. Yeah. You don't know if you're gonna see him, but it's like over. It's like
it's wild. It's a wild feeling. And to know that they are at that point after everything, brothers even after everything that they've gone through, and even their mission Earth, it's kind of one of those really surreal moments. I think even reading that they are literally saying farewell. They don't know if they're gonna see each other again.
Yeah, because they didn't trust and they didn't trust Anu, first of all. Anu, the last time he came and visited, the last time he was on Earth, they say, in this writing at least, and that was thousands of years ago. But they say when he came there, he's like, what? Galzu? I never sent a Galzu here. Mm-hmm. He kept saying that there was a mystery, but he kept taking the form of somebody they knew. And he was like, I never sent Galazoo here. He's over here. You know what I mean? And he's been right next to me the whole time. So somebody has been portraying themselves as Galazoo.
But he's trusted. So that's, I think, one of those
He
key
is
things. He's
trusted.
a trusted kind of person within the royal family, if you will.
Yeah. But whatever it was, it kept nudging the Anunnaki to let the human race continue and on this planet, right? And that's when they're here talking. It's they're getting ready to leave, and they're just shooting shit over one last joint. And they're like, yo, what do you think's gonna happen, man? We're gonna leave these humans to their own demise, you know what I'm saying? But Marduk's in charge. That's fucked up. They're all like, that's gonna go fucked up for them, I bet.
We'll see what he sows or what he reaps after he's sowed for so long. And from that day forward until now is exactly what he's sowed and reaped.
And then so they're also talking about, will the earth repeat what Nibiru went through? Will the people of Earth, the Earthlings?
And did we not?
Like
have we not?
So yeah, supposedly there's always been a god, right? But no gods interfere with war, or do they? I don't know.
Nuclear bombs.
Yeah, all these things happen, right? We totally are repeating.
We repeated.
And I wonder if they went through racial wars, because supposedly on Nibiru, it's written that they were all once animals that evolved.
So there's some that are less evolved, maybe.
All of them were different animals that evolved. Supposedly, the Anu race the Anu line were lions. Supposedly.
Interesting.
And the different races, that's why supposedly they have different heads.
Be a racial thing for sure.
They have different heads sometimes, is because that's actually their bloodline. Like we come from monkeys. So we would have the ape. We would have an ape head. If they were to draw us back then, we'd have this ape head if we were to God.
Okay, so on this theory, this kind of makes me go a little off topic a little bit, but today we hear a lot about the different types of aliens and whatnot that are in our society and hiding amongst us, if you will, the reptilians, the grays, the this, the that.
Those would have been dragons.
Okay, so if they then evolved themselves from things, animals as such, and they are all Anunnaki, they just have a different look about them.
Like we're human.
Just like all of us humans. So, damn.
And that's why they said the Agigi, a lot of people, they don't write it like this. They write it as the Agigi were 50 heroes, and then they kept getting more heroes. So they called them heroes because they were saviors of the planet. Now, beyond that, Enki doesn't use racism, right? But what if on Nibiru, they were like, yo, we're going to Earth for a mission. We need 50 workers from your work class. They're going to be labeled as heroes from now on. And now that work class are all of the dragon type people. What if that was what if those were the slaves?
But see, and that's one of those things.
Work class, they abolished slavery. That only means they paid their slaves. That's all it means.
Right. And within the annals, they say how the Igigi came and made giants with these humans. So they were of a different race within the Anunnaki that created a completely different being.
Of white people. They were
completely different beings because
white
they
people
were
with
not
red hair.
All the same, just like we're not all the same. That's a beautiful concept. I love that because God damn it, fuck these racial wars. But seriously though, looking back to before I continue to read it, we absolutely fucking repeated their history. Absolutely. Over and over again.
100% followed it to the T. And you know why? Because we're following. We are followers. That's what they call you, followers. How many followers do you have? Followers. You're following somebody that's doing something else. You're going to conform to their fucking thoughts and what their beliefs are. So it happened just all the whole time. Hey, man, Maybe we can discover nuclear fucking war. Okay, cool. We need a bomb to blow those people up. You know what I'm saying? If there was a God that knew this about his planet and knew these things were happening, and supposedly, why wouldn't they stop it? Why, if God so loved the people, why wouldn't they stop Hiroshima and shit? What is this about? What is all the death? What is all this, like, us on us death that is being let happen by a so-called God that loves us? That's some bullshit, if you ask me. If I love my people, I'd be like, no, you're being good to each other, or sing, you're getting spaced. You're getting spaced.
You're not good.
Why'd you space all these people? They were being mean to my people. These are good people.
They were assholes. Like, they just didn't want to change. They were assholes. They wanted to just not be good. Bing!
Yeah.
Get out of here.
If we really followed, everyone followed what the Bible says and how to be a good person, this world would be absolutely amazing. And it's supposedly free will. That's the bullshit of it. But no, if there was really a God that was in charge, you know, they would be watching over us and protecting, not only protecting some chosen few and bullshit. What the fuck is this about? And who's really who, right? There's a white guy created by Lord Enki, who also created black people, tons of melanated people. You call them black, brown, greenish, grayish, purplish, whatever the hell color they was drawn as blue and green and all different colors. So who's to say who's black and who's white? Who's not made from Satan? Satan made people on this world. The person you call Lucifer, he made people. His fallen angels made people. Those people, the descendants, live today, unless somehow in those wars that you can follow in the ancient times, their people got wiped out. But some of them, like especially Satan, Lucifer's children, his specific people that he created, because, you know, they had me formulas to create people. They were called the children of the rocket ships, right? The ones that they fucking were uprising against everyone and shit, and a big war happened and stuff. But look, people went underground, didn't they? Abraham was chosen to lead the next group of people. Muslims were created in the line of Abraham down the road.
It's actually Ibrum. Ibrum.
Yeah, Ibram.
Ibrum.
And then down the line of Ibram, I believe it was, Abraham was supposed to be Jesus. I'm not a scholar on the Bible or not, but I mean, it's just vastly popular thought. So down that line somewhere is Jesus. So how the hell do we have Muslims and then Christianity out of the same family? I don't get this shit.
There's a lot. Well, honestly,
they think each one of their gods is God, but literally they're two different people, the same sheeple.
Yeah, it's Marduk really did a number on this fucking world, let me tell you. So.
And a cat. Because listen, Abraham and the Muslims were created by Enlil. If you follow the story and follow what's written, go ahead and read the rest, because you're going to see here, like the 7 birth mothers their names were supposed to be remembered forever. The 50 heroes, or the 22 fallen angels, the Agigi that came down and revolted, they were supposed to be remembered forever. Somehow we want to remember these fallen angels with fucking Jewish names, that a human name. That's what it is. We get these human names. Why can't we get their real name?
I mean, Anunnaki names are dope, yo.
Why can't we get their real name?
I would love an Anunnaki name.
we can know in the Jewish times about the fallen angels and their real names. They're the Semyaza, that's Anunnaki, right? Azazel, that's Anunnaki. These were the Anunnaki names. But yet we can't know the 7 birth mothers. Oh, why? Because we can't know about the slave race.
We even came to be.
Exactly, but that's the slave race.
That would open up the whole fucking truth can of worms.
It would.
Baby.
It would.
No. We can't do that.
If the first slave race in the Abzu survived, right? A lot of people think the Abzu was Africa, right? That means Africans would be that first slave race. Forgive me, I'm just saying, right? Don't mind the color of my skin. This is just what the book's saying. I'm just trying to follow the story. If that race of people survived, which it says in the flood that they did not. Only the line of Noah survived, which he took primitive worker class wife, right? He had a black wife from the primitive worker people. If you follow the story, they made all these dudes to mine. Then they made a woman with blonde hair, sandy blonde hair and shit. Her skin was the color of the Anunnaki skin.
Whichever it was.
Green, blue, purple, yellow, red,
It didn't
white.
say.
It didn't say, but it could have been a blonde chick with blonde hair, making mixed kids this whole time, where there was actually no black people. There was mixed people forever, always mixed people, except for
We were all
the male,
a tone of brown. Guys.
except for the male primitive workers. The male primitive workers were clones at first. They were spitting out tons of them, the 7 birth mothers, and they were like, man, this is getting to be really taxing. I can't do this anymore. So they get brought in more females, and they were like, this really sucks. Every 9 days, we're spitting out a fucking kid. And then these dudes are dying. They're not living that long. They're dying and shit. This is hard labor for these fucking primitive workers, right?
They haven't perfected things quite yet. At that point.
Yep.
We'll put it that way.
Exactly.
And they've made, they're just starting the slave race. So, they're kind of like on a whip with even themselves. Like, we need to fucking get these people made.
Yeah.
Like, we need workers now. I don't care if
With
they
big
don't look
boobs,
right.
huge boobs, huge asses too, right? And that's what it was. They weren't able to make babies, so they had to fix them again, right? Put more of their DNA in the slave race, which made them have babies. And then they let a couple groups of them go out into the Eden.
Proliferate.
Yes, go forth and proliferate. But I believe they were just in Africa running around right there, just making babies and stuff. So imagine if you're picking berries and you're like, we're like really far from the masters. I don't want to go down and work anymore. You want to just keep walking that way? And then boom, that African tribe started from a primitive worker race, that they were a slave race. I'm just saying, I'm just thinking how maybe Africa got populated, because it definitely wasn't by Ham. It's a white dude or a mixed guy. A mixed guy. Where did he get this wife? Where did Ham get the wife from that made all these black people? If you tell me it was a black lady, I'm going to tell you that then it was a primitive worker lady that they found in Africa, because that's all they had. That they had the primitive worker race, and then they had Enki's creation, because he found 2 chicks on the outside of that pond, banged both of them. They spit out 2 kids, Adam and Eve, right? Before that,
the first.
well, that was the second.
Oh, that was the second? Oh, okay.
The
I'm
first
sorry.
Adam
We were
and
talking about
Eve.
first.
The first Adam
My
and
bad.
Eve was to make the worker class race,
Right.
which they described their
Right.
skin colors completely. They described them as dark brownish red is the males, and they said the female had skin color like them, and her hair was sandy blonde, was the color of sand. Sand is green, black, pink, white, tan, whatever.
Black.
We know when we say the color of your hair as sand, we always think dirty blonde.
Yes.
We always think that.
Just immediate.
so
So we assume that
yeah.
that's what they think, or that's what they're saying too.
So whatever color that female was, they were making mixed kids from the get-go. There was no black, there was no dominant. They were making mixed kids from the get-go. There was mixed colors in one, mixed colors in the other, or one color in the other. But they was having sex, making mixed kids. They was making primitive workers for thousands of years, thousands and thousands of years, until Enki came out of the little cave and was like, girl, out of the house of life, and saw these 2 black chicks playing with big old titties bouncing and shit and big old butt. And it was like, damn, I'm gonna go fuck that. So, look at the afro on that one. And he went over and banged both of them, outspit Adam and Eve. Now, they never say anything about any color change. They talk about what color they are. They're brown. They're brownish colors, right? Some are olive colors, brownish olive, olive drab, right? All melanated, all of the tanness, right? Not black, just all with the tanness. They're talking about.
They talk about
some
hair
are
color and
brown.
head color much more than they talk about skin color. They
Yeah.
only say skin color once or twice through the whole fucking thing. But the hair color, black of hair, sand, hair of sand.
Yep.
Like they describe the hair color. So we have to think, prominent hair colors of kind of the time as well. And what they kind of match too.
So primarily it's a dark planet.
Mm-hmm.
It's a dark planet. And that's because
dark head.
Dark people are what would be indigenous to a planet this close to the fucking sun. I can't go outside because I burn. Okay, thanks a lot. Thanks a lot, whoever fuck put me here. That's why I tell black people all the time. Stop trying to figure out where the black people came from. We know you were created first. I can follow. I tell you exactly what happened. Find where the white people came from. Because if Noah birthed,
we aren't supposed to be in the sun.
Like if Noah, the first white man was Noah. They said his skin and his eyes lit up the room. Literally, if you go read the book of Enoch, it describes it even worse than what I describe it as. A room full of black people, and it's dark in a cave, and all of a sudden a white baby pops up. Oh, bro, that would be bright. That kid would be bright as fuck. But lo and behold, in the book of Enoch, which was his grandfather, says that that damn kid, his eyes lit up the room like it was bright, like lights.
So were they shining like literally, or were
shining like lights?
So, or were they like of a different color that they were used to,
but
like
just
blue,
like they describe baby Jesus, though.
Yeah,
baby Jesus they describe the same way, right? So they're describing white people. They're describing white people, right? So Noah's the first white person, and then he has a black wife. There's only black people on the planet, or dark melanated people, and then there's Noah.
I mean, like literally, he doesn't have any options, guys.
Yeah.
He's the only dude that's white on this entire planet.
Yep. And I mean, he's a white pimp walking around. You know what I'm saying? And then now, like the Nephilim redhead. Yeah, see that? There you go. And then the fallen angel come down, right? And they mate with the daughters of men, which were primitive workers. There was no. They make it seem like it was Adam and Eve and Jesus's people, all these, like all this Israel and stuff. And then they came down and took all these people that are dressed kind of like her or something, like with a little dress on. No, it was butt naked primitive worker chicks that were running around either Africa or the Eden part. But I don't think they were allowed in Eden, because Eden was for the Anunnaki. It was a special little spot. Home away from the home kind of thing.
It was, wasn't it?
Yeah. And so they're all naked running around Africa and shit. And then they come down and start stealing their people. They start stealing wives. And then they make white, red-haired giants. Now, not all of them are white, but dude, most of them are white, red-haired giants.
Remember, we just talked about the theory of them having their different races because they evolved from animals. So they look differently from one another as well. So the Igigi probably look different from any other of the ones that were on the planet. They were the ones that came and made the red hair, white skin. So whatever was in their blood, boom, made something different.
Yep, made something different, made the white person. So you got Lord Enki. That's why they call his semen the holy seed. Okay, because I believe in his semen is the power of all the creation. Right, so he can make a black person, he can make a Spanish person, he can make a Chinese person, he can make a red-haired giant. Like you make all that, like all that's in him, right? And then these other ones seem like they could only do certain things, or it was like, I hope nothing comes out crazy.
They're not as high on the evolution scale, maybe, or something like that.
Supposedly their children were way bigger than them. Way more monstrous, way more powerful, way
they
more.
Made giants. They made giants, and like the Anunnaki were large beings, giant to us, but they made even bigger giants.
Yeah,
like what?
So we got all these species of humans running around on our planet, right? Some were of the creation, some were primitive workers, slaves, because at the time there was a whole, think about this, there's Samaria and Adam and Eve, they're starting over here in Samaria, and there's civilization with buildings and shit. And then over in South America, There's a whole nother civilization, and the two people aren't talking to each other. The people in charge know all about each other. There's a whole slave race, though. Like Adam and Eve's people, they shepherded and farmed and stuff. That was their slavery, right? Made bread and stuff.
Tending the field.
Tending the field and tending to the Anunnaki.
Like, you wouldn't really think that slavery because it's just living, but they needed to do that.
They did it for the Anunnaki,
For
though.
the Anunnaki.
Right? Not for themselves. Right? We do it now for ourselves,
Right.
or we think, right? But the other ones in South America, see, they were still the slave race. That was Cain's people, the descendants of Cain, not black people. There were no black people in South America. There were no black people in Mexico. There were no black people in North America. Now, when people talk about our, going forward and stuff, and like, look, there's black people and stuff. Now, don't you think that over time, the peoples would have mixed together even more? I just told you, like, you got to look at certain things. Like, if you grow a beard, you're not those people. You're just not. It was written.
There's a lot of differentiations that are spoken about in this book, and that's a huge one.
Huge one. There's people today, I swear Polynesians either don't grow a beard. They can't do this. Polynesians don't do this. If they do, they're mixed with something else. But 100% Polynesian people, they might grow whiskers now all these thousands of years later. But that was a curse put on Cain by Adam. Adam was a witch. He was the biggest wizard on the planet. He walked this planet for 54,000 years, just like Enki did. But his job was to make kids, make people, teach all his sons and daughters all the things that he knew, and to catalog all the shit on the planet. So that's what he did. He went all over the place.
And he's also the only earthling, only human that actually went off planet and was allowed off planet and was taken to Nibiru and then brought right the fuck back so he didn't die.
There was other, they call them prophets. There was other humans throughout history that were also supposed to be taken to heaven. Adam was the only human taken to Nibiru.
To their planet.
And met Anu sitting on Anu's throne and offered the bread and the water of life.
Literally, he partied with the motherfuckers. But he couldn't eat or drink a goddamn thing. Imagine being welcomed and in awe upon, like you are a creation and everybody's like, holy shit, look at this. But you can't eat or drink a damn thing while you're there. Not a thing.
Or else we would have lived forever.
Because that was the secret to life, to everlasting long life that they had. Or that really not everlasting, but long life.
Yep.
But not very many of us in history and their annals have been given.
Yep. So we have here Lord Enki's getting ready to leave with Enlil, right? Now you might say, hold up, we lost something here with Noah and his sons. We didn't. Before we heard about how Noah's 3 sons split up and they went with one of the Anunnaki to other lands. So what's his name? Motherfucking Hambone went over to with Lord Enki to the Abzu to create a race of black people, supposedly. Okay, so if he went over to the Abzu, where the house of life is, where the primitive workers all fucking lived. I'm just saying, where did the wife come from? Where did the wife come from? There was supposedly only this family left. There was no other wives, right? They invited other people on that boat. Only scientists went. Only some of those scientists went on that boat. So there was no wives. So they found a primitive worker wife, one of the slave class people. So you got to understand there's levels of the creation. Every time they went through a different level of the creation, there was an upgrade presented, right? So the worker class, they only got the primitive worker. The only thing they got was hands to hold tools. And so they could hear and only speak normal shit. They weren't allowed to talk and do stuff like that. They can only take orders and hold tools and work. That was it. Okay. And then you had the other creation, which was Adam and Eve. Well, actually, you had a few other creations inside the primitive worker class so it can make them to breed. So there was few creations in there and tweaks and turns into them. So they were upgraded. The worker class, the primitive worker class, was upgraded to what I believe to be modern day Africans. That's what I truly believe. Like, they follow that history. They show the mines in South Africa. This isn't my anything. This is just how I read it and I see it this way, right? So I don't follow this ham story or nothing like that, right? I see people that are in charge and they make a whole bunch of people. That's what they do. And they're like, all right, cool. We made a couple families now. Let them have sex. We're gonna go over here and eat some dinner. And then they come back and like, damn, all right, we got civilization going. All right, let's teach these people how to cut stones real quick. I'm gonna show them how to look. I call this a worm, right? I mean, think about it. You're stoned. You're coming over here and teaching kids, and you got a pair of scissors. You know, like I call these thrashers, right? You got a little laser pointer that can cut stone perfectly, and you're like, I call this the worm, and it cuts stone, right? And then you give it to the human. And it's like, oh, I got a fucking lightsaber, dude. I got this biggest thing, and whatever they wrote about, whatever the shit was they wrote about, right? So he goes over there, he creates black people. The two other sons go separate ways and create the people of this way and the people of that way, right? Well, I think one goes to Russia, one goes this way or that way. Now, mind you, the people of Cain were still on the planet the whole time. They went to Machu Picchu. Is it Machu Picchu? The big top of the mountain fucking city. And they survived there. Okay, they survived the flood there. They survived, or did they survive the evil wind? Because it's written that the Mayans lived like 3,400 years and then vanished. They talked about the Spanish conquistadors and shit like that. Well, dude, that was our times. The Spanish and these boats and shit like that, we ain't there yet. We ain't to people fucking wearing all these cool clothes and fancy hats and shit like that yet. That was far after, like, the pirate days. Do you think the pirate days were happening like in the Jesus times? No, it was hundreds of years after, maybe 1,000 years or something like that after. So you got to get in the right times of history for each sections of these. Because like when they say like 3 sentences, hundreds of years probably went by in front of their eyes, man, for us. And then you got to catch the in between the line parts and be like, okay, so on the earth at this time, this was happening, right? So they're over there in South America mining as slaves. They have culture. Don't think that I'm saying they don't. Even the so-called slaves in the South of America, not South America, the Southern United States, they had culture. They had music, dance, everything, right? They had culture. So don't think if you're a slave, you won't have your culture. Your culture don't get stripped from you completely, right? So the ancient Aztecs, Mayans, all these South American indigenous people, Thoth, okay, says that they are the descendants from Cain. He found them over in the west. So if he's standing in the east, or if he's standing on the west coast of South America, and he says, I found the people of Cain over in the west. So let's go over in the west. That's Polynesia, bro. Maybe even Asia. He found those people. Now Cain had to go walk to the east. He said, they say, you're banished. I'm stripping you from your beard. That's how what's his name? Adam knew it was him over all his sons. He felt his face and there was no beard. And he said, "Ah, Cain, hey, you're going to be the father of 7 great nations. We have now 7 kingdoms of gold." I believe those kingdoms weren't his kingdoms, though, right? Because look, he died. He never came to South America. He died somewhere. Russia, Asia, right? There's this one spot. I can't wait to discover it. But I really think that Cain built this. I think that even maybe Cain and Abel both built this, because it talks about 2 giant brothers built this kingdom and shit like that. And then one of them died and shit, got hit in the head by a stone or something like that. It's his whole tale. So Thoth, Ningazita, he goes and finds the people of Cain, the descendants of Cain. He knows that by them not having a beard. I bet you they had an Asian type appearance, like Polynesian people, right? Forgive me if you think that's not a correct association, but the Polynesian type look, the Asian type look, the Mongolian type look, right? Ningazita, Thoth, taught those people how to build great ships, right? What do we know about the Hawaiians? What do we know about Polynesians? They know how to build great ships, right? What do we know about them? They probably came from Asia, right? There it says it. Thousands of years before anyone ever thought that. It's written in these damn tablets on stone. Then he brought them over to the South America, where he taught them pyramid building and culture. So he taught them money's value. He taught them how to make fucking stuff and weapons and clothes and art and jewelry. All the shit we know about the Mayans, right? That first peoples down there. Or maybe even people call them different things, like the something, whatever was before the Mayans. They call them those people, right? And then they came in after they got their culture, they were evolving, right? And became the Mayans, right? So we have all that happening over here. And that whole specific thing, that whole creation of these South American indigenous people was for one sole purpose. One. Mission Earth. The continuation of the gold getting. Slavery. That was the whole fucking purpose. They needed them to give them gold. Now we go back to our history. Well, what did those indigenous people of South America do? Did they offer their gold to their gods? Fucking they did. Almost every last drop. I mean, come on. Yeah, we have El Dorado, the city of gold. There was so much, that wasn't what it was. There was so much gold everywhere. Because think about all the gold scraps that would be left over or just laying around because they're gold mining. They're learning how to smelt on, what was it called? Nazca lines, the Nazca thing. That's where their smelting shit was. All those rocks are burnt. All those rocks are burnt, man. Oh, look at those rocks. They call them like copper iron or some shit. You just scrape away, and that looks like a damn a furnace, like a smoldering furnace and shit, right? So you got the glossary to finish here in a second.
Yeah.
But that's where we're at with this. Okay, so these people were there, created at those times. Okay, Marduk is in charge. And Enlil and Enki are walking away, right? And here's what Enlil or Enki says at the end. You got to read the rest of it. Remember you stopped? I knew her thumbing through there, she would lose like where she was at.
Do you want me to read his thoughts again?
You never got to his thoughts.
Oh, okay. Well, again,
remember where we were at?
Yeah.
Where I had you stop?
And Enlil, grasping his brother's arm, hugged him as well. Shall we meet again on Earth or on Nibiru? Enki asked. Was Galzu right that we die if we to Nibiru go? Enlil responded. Then he turned and departed. Alone was Enki left. Only by the thoughts of his heart was he accompanied. How it all began and how it thus far ended, he sat and pondered. Was it all destined, or was it fate by this and that decision fashioned? If heaven and earth by cycles within cycles regulated, what had happened will again occur? Is the past the future? Will the earthlings the Anunnaki emulate? Will earth relive Nibiru? Will he, the first to arrive, the last to leave be? Besieged by thoughts, Enki a decision made. All the events and decisions, starting with Nibiru to this day on earth, to put in a record, a guide to future generations to become. Let posterity at a time by destiny designated, the record read, the past remember, the future as prophecy understand. Let the future of the past the judge be. These are the words of Enki, firstborn of Anu, of Nibiru. 14th tablet, the words of the Lord Enki, written from the mouth of the great Lord Enki. Not one word missed, not one word added, by the master scribe and Dupsar, a man of Eridu, son of Udbar. By the Lord Enki, with long life I have been blessed.
Yeah, 1 second on this. You read this
Yeah,
one.
I'm going to do all these.
Okay, so here's the thing I wanted to add to that. So when Anu came here the last time, he told them, no, I didn't send Galzu here, and we fixed that whole lifespan problem a long time ago. You just come back, you do this, that, and you guys are good again. But you have to keep coming back. You can't, if you lived here for a long time, we might not be able to fix you. So they were pondering that at the end. Anu said it was cool. Galzu said it wasn't. But see, that's where I was trying to get at. I think it was Galzu, or the creator of all, manifesting as Galzu, coming in and saying, hey, don't leave. You can't leave. What if Enlil would have left? What if Enki would have left? Think about all the other little motherfuckers running around that wanted to take charge.
Oh, God. It would have been utter chaos.
Enlil stood there strong. Fuck you. Nope. I'm the fucking leader of this shit. You know what I mean?
Thank goodness he was, because he put a stop to some bullshit.
He did. Even though it was terrible, a lot of shit, but all of them did, really. But
well, yeah, they all did terrible shit.
They played their part in a specific way that it could have turned out way fucking worse. This story could be way fucking worse. You know what I'm saying? We ain't even talking about yet the Book of the Giants, because this shit all happens in the middle of the story. That's why I said
this is like a commemorative onslaught of all of it in one big fail swoop, where it's like itty bitty stories are pulled out of this whole thing.
Yep. There was a war that happened before the flood, and we're going to get into that. But also, what I wanted to say is, so Enki even told us, he said, I'm going to write all this shit down. So that supposedly time works in cycles. The stars work in cycles. Time's supposed to work in cycles. So everything's supposed to come back to where it once started in time. So once we're back in that one spot, everything could happen that happened already, is what he's saying. So he's like, let me write this shit down just in case in the future someone captures this and learns that, okay, shit is repeating itself. Oh, fuck, it is not, time is not this way. It's cylindrical and goes back to itself. That's why time doesn't have a beginning or an end. It just keeps going. It is now. It's always, Yeah. So he knows this and says, so if this is the way it is, let me write this down so that future people, when the time is right, and what's just so fucking funny is when they found the emerald tablets, they didn't know how to read them. But in the time of the whole, when they did decipher them, lots of people, millions of people were into it, but it went away forever. It was not common knowledge until the age of the whole conspiracy theory, or the, what do they call that? The ancient alien type people really brought this to light, and people started looking and reading this, and it's like, holy fucking shit, wait a minute now, hold the fuck on. So that's the time Enki's talking about, till the time it was needed, and people can read this and use it as a guide and know what to do.
Or at least know what the fuck's coming.
What a crime to change it. and make a Bible out of it. What a fucking crime. Like, I feel if I ever get to talk to any of these motherfuckers and shit, I don't give a fuck what you do to me. You're going to hear my word until you fry me, dude. You know what I'm saying? I don't give a shit. I'm going to become a spare and come back and whoop your ass. Because this is bullshit. This is crimes of humanity. Like, you literally have been robbed from what your creator said that we should have. What knowledge we should know. We should know there's another fucking planet coming and it could possibly destroy us again. That's what he's talking about. He's saying, yeah, okay, the humans could make bombs and kill each other. And yeah, that's a human thing.
But go back to the very beginning when they actually had the history of how Earth came to be, how it got knocked the fuck around, was in half, and then remade itself into a ball from, it's like spinning and whatnot. But yeah, like the whole fucking thing is cylindrical, is a cycle, and fucking A. One of these times when Nibiru comes around again, when it does, not this time, obviously, we're still here because it did. But we may see another broken up Earth.
Yeah. So that's what he's talked about. And we should be knowing these things and remembering things. And the way we don't know them and don't remember them, or like when people that listen to what this says and says they literally said we should know this, we should follow this, we should listen to this. Okay, well, let's go talk about it with other people. And then those other people are so religious they don't want to hear it and talk about it, but it says here that we're supposed to know it and remember it. Like, I just really feel like a crime against humanity. I feel like the lie that has been told to us is just, it's crazy, man. It's hard to express the feelings I get, like knowing now that the truth is so much fucking cooler and wilder than you could have ever fucking thought. And people's entitlement and place in life is why the fuck do you even fight for it? You're a human. You're human of this earth. Just forget everything else. And just start with being a human on the planet. There's other things that are in control of us. If you don't like it, let's all come together in a realization that we're human and not different colors. That doesn't matter. You want to read the rest of it?
Okay, so we're going to go over the glossary, and I know this is not exactly a seat of your pants stuff, but it's a lot of good information on the who these people are, where these places are, because there's little ad libs in there of things that we've actually speculated on throughout the story. So, Abel, the biblical Abel, killed by his brother Cain. Abgal, the spacecraft pilot and first commander of the landing place. The Abzu, Enki's gold mining domain in Southeast Africa. Adab, Ninarsag's post-diluvial city in Sumer. Adad, Akkadian name of Ishkur, Enlil's youngest son. This next two is very, very important to remember. Adamu, the first successfully genetically engineered primitive worker, the Adam. Adapa, son of Enki by an earthling female, first civilized man, the biblical Adam. Okay, two different Adams. Agade, first post-war capital of Nibiru, and also the unified capital of Sumer and Akkad. Akkad is the northern lands added to Sumer under Sargon I, and Akkadian is the mother tongue of all Semitic languages. Alalgar, the spacecraft pilot, the second commander of Eridu. Alelu, the deposed king of Nibiru, who escaped to Earth and discovered gold, died on Mars. His image was carved on a rock that was his tomb, which is now no longer there. Alam, son of Anshargal by a concubine. Amun, Egyptian name for the exiled god Ra. Amun, Ra. An, first unity king on Nibiru, name of the planet we call Uranus. Because remember, when they came to be, they named the planets after their personal kings and whatnot. Anak, the metal tin. Anib.
Anak is the metal tin.
The metal tin.
Okay.
Anak, the metal tin. Anib, royal title of Ib, a successor on Nibiru's throne. Anki, firstborn son of An on Nibiru. Anu, with 2 N's, sacred city in Egypt, the biblical On, O-N, Heliopolis in Greek. Heliopolis.
That's on?
That is Anu.
Anu.
The 2 double N's, A-N-N-U.
So Anu is
Sacred
Heliopolis.
Sacred city in Egypt.
You know where that's at.
The biblical, in the Bible, it is On, O-N, the city On, and Heliopolis in Greek.
Yep, we know where that's at.
Anshar, the 5th ruler on Nibiru of the unified dynasty, and the planet we call Saturn. Saturn is Anshar in their in this annal. And Shargal, the 4th ruler on Nibiru of the unified dynasty, way back. Antu, spouse of An, spouse of Anu, early name of the planet we call Neptune. Anu, Nibiru's ruler when the Anunnaki came to Earth. Also, the planet called Uranus, or Uranus.
So he's the ass. He's Uranus, man.
Anunitu, endearment name for the goddess Inanna. So Anunitu. Now remember that Anu actually gave Inanna, towards the end of the story, a chariot and a city. Or a kingship of some sort, I think, or something of the sort.
Yeah, wherever the hell his big shit landed.
He loved her so much that he just was like, give her. Like, it was like his favorite granddaughter. Just give her everything. So, yeah, it is a Anunitu, an endearment for the goddess Inanna. Anunnaki, those who from heaven to earth came, quote unquote, from Nibiru to earth. Anzu is the spacecraft pilot, the first commander of the way station on Mars.
Yep.
Apsu, primordial progenitor of the solar system, the sun, S-U-N. Arata, a domain granted to Inanna, part of the 3rd region. So that was her spot, Arata. Arbakad, the biblical Arpakshad, one of Shem's sons.
Yep. And see the 3rd region, guys, that is the fucking, could be different spots, but I believe the 3rd region was up there in Spain and, above. Because they got, the 1st region was where they landed. The 2nd region, I think, was like India. The Abzu was completely something else. They called it the Abzu. So all of Africa didn't have a region. It was the Abzu. And then they had the 3rd region, I believe, was above them. And then they talk about the new region, or the 4th region, which I believe was all the way over to South America.
Arata, the land and mountains of Ararat. Asar, the Egyptian god called Osiris. Asta, the Egyptian goddess called Isis, the sister wife of Asar. Awan, sister wife of Cain, the biblical Cain. Aya, spouse of Utu, the god called Shamash in Akkadian.
So Shamash and Utu, that's Inanna's brother.
Azura, spouse of Sati, mother of Enshi, the biblical Enosh.
Enoch.
Well, it's an SH here. So.
Oh.
Bab-Ili, it's hyphenated, quote unquote, gateway of the gods, Babylon, Marduk city in Mesopotamia.
So Marduk city is Babylon in Mesopotamia. We know Mesopotamia is Iraq, right? I believe Persia is Iraq, all that kind of stuff. So if anyone tries to say, hey man, you go, hey, what nationality? And then say Persian, just know that they're not trying to tell you they're Iraqi. You know, that was a big thing back in the day. I was like, oh, I love Persians. And I was, where else Persia at? Oh, Iraq. Oh, shit. You guys just want to say you're Iraqis because of the whole war shit. And what's the last part? Oh, so it's supposedly the gateway to the gods, right? How you get to where the gods are, right? Babylon. So then you go through all this time and everyone's against Babylon. What the fuck is it? Why are you all against Babylon? That's how you get to God. I don't understand it, but that's Marduk's land. Ooh, see Marduk. Marduk had all kinds of crazy shit happening with him.
Yeah.
He was the god.
Bad Tibera, Ninurta's city of smelting and refining gold.
We got to find that place.
Banda, heroic ruler of Uruk, biblical Erech, father of Gilgamesh. Baraka, spouse of Erid, the biblical Jared.
So that last guy you just read, what was his name?
Banda, B-A-N-D-A.
Banda. So do you really think a 6 foot tall man would give birth to an 18 tall foot man with that could carry 250 foot or pound axes, or hold a lion under his arm like it's a kitten? Do you really think that would happen? No. Banda was a damn giant himself. Holy shit. Born from the Agigi.
He is the biblical Erech, E-R-E-C-H. So that person in the Bible is Banda, actually.
But he's a giant. Born, hold on one second.
Okay.
Born by the fallen angels, gave birth to that dude, Banda, right? Because he was a giant, and then gave birth to Gilgamesh, because Gilgamesh was no human. He wasn't from the creation. He wasn't from the line of Adam. Go look it up. Go follow that shit. You're going to see.
Batanash, spouse of Lumak, the biblical Lamech, mother of the hero of the deluge. Bao.
So that's Noah's wife?
No. Batanash, B-A-T-A-N-A-S. Batanash, spouse of Lumak, the biblical Lamech, mother of the hero of the deluge.
Oh, okay. Mother of Noah. She's the mother of Noah, who Enki banged her. He found her by it's a funny story. He found her by a lake and he banged her. Now in the Bible, it says God transformed himself into a swan. So basically she made love to a fucking swan. Do you know what fucking duck dicks look like? How the hell's a duck dick gonna fit in a woman? I'm just saying. They make it sound all fucking majestical. Why would a lady fuck a duck? It wasn't.
Maybe that's how they came up with that term.
Fuck a duck.
Oh, fuck a duck.
No.
It's a term that we don't like.
What up? Fuck. Yeah, no. He fucking
mistake.
He found her. He found another time. Okay. The first time he found some fucking chicks sitting at the side of a pond. He made Adam and Eve, right? This time, he found Batanash bending over, and he's like, damn, look at that fat ass. Oh, shit.
And made Noah.
And made Noah from the line of Adam, made Noah, right? Who was either he was white or his black ass skin glued so fucking much that he had that afro sheen or some shit. I don't fucking know. But how they write it, he was white with blue eyes. That's how they wrote it. You know, they glowed so fucking bright and they lit up the room. Now, maybe, you know, black people say that from them they can create albinos and shit with blue eyes and stuff. Is that what happened here? Maybe an albino was born, but it was a white man. Whether it be a white man, a black man, there was a non-melanated man being born. So Batanash was the daddy, the mama. And from there, all kinds of shit went down there.
Bao, spouse of Ninurta, a healer.
Who?
Bao, B-A-U. The spouse of Ninurta, a healer.
Ninurta. Do you guys know who Ninurta is?
Beacon Peaks, the two great pyramids of Giza. Afterward, Mount Mashu in the Sinai.
Yep.
Ben, conical upper part of Ra's celestial boat. Black-headed people, the Sumerian people.
So the black-headed people, like I said, it was not, they were talking about hair color, not skin color here. So that was the Sumerians. So the Sumerians, right? Who are the Sumerians? Who's Sumer? Who started Sumer? Adam and Eve. That means they weren't black. they weren't primarily a dark-skinned race, because they talk about the dark-skinned race probably coming up here in a minute.
Black land, the African domain of the god Dumuzi. Black skybird, the aerial vehicle of Ninurta.
What did you say one more time?
Which one? Black
The
land?
Dumuzi. You're going to shit.
Black land, the African domain of the god Dumuzi.
Black land. Okay, the black lands. They're talking about the people. Look at Africa. There's nothing black about Africa, right? Except for the people who reside inside of it. That is the domain, right, of the god Dumuzi, right? That's Jesus. Go ahead.
Boat of heaven, aerial vehicle of various gods and goddesses. Bond heaven earth, the complex instruments in mission control center. Branch of life essence, DNA holding chromosome. Bull of heaven, Enlil's guardian of the landing place, symbol of his constellation. Buranu, the river Euphrates.
So that bull, though, was a mechanical bull. It was like a weaponized steampunk shit.
Mm-hmm. Cedar Forest, location of the landing place in present-day Lebanon. Cedar Mountains, location of Enlil's abode in the Cedar Forest. Celestial bark, Egyptian term for a god's spacecraft. Bark as in, it's Barque. I don't know if I said that correctly. Celestial battle, the primordial collision between Nibiru and Tiamat. Celestial chariots, interplanetary spacecraft.
It's cool how they break those down.
Mm-hmm. Celestial portions, the 72-year period for 1 degree zodiacal shift due to precession.
What's precession, flat earthers?
Celestial stations, the 12 houses of the zodiacal constellations. Celestial time, time measured by the precessional shifts of zodiacal constellations. Chariot's place, spaceport. A circuit, orbit of a planet around the sun. Civilized man, Homo sapiens sapiens, of which Adapa was the first one.
Not Adamu, Dapu. Adapa. So
Adamu was the atom, as in the start of a cell, like the atom bomb, atom this, the atom. And then
So-
Adapa. Yeah.
Adapa was a primitive worker. So you hear what you said? Lord Enki went and found Cro-Magnon man. He found what you guys call Nessie or whatever the fuck. Not Nessie. What's her name? You know, the fucking caveman. The half monkey, half human thing that they found. That's supposed to be millions of years old and shit like that. So he found those creatures and he turned them into Homo sapien. What did you say?
Civilized man is Adapa was the first. It's Homo sapiens sapiens. So it's almost like they've walked upright and then they walk upright better.
Yes. So he created Homo sapiens, and the first one was Adapa, which is the primitive worker.
Adamu was the primitive worker.
Adamu. Wait, which one?
Adamu is the primitive worker. Adapa is who we're talking about now. He is the civilized man.
Oh, so he made, I'm sorry. Yeah, so I had it right. So when they made the civilized worker, right, they made them out of the Cro-Magnon little guys. You know what I'm saying? The monkey people that he found walking upright and starting to use tools. He grabbed the female, and they raped the shit out of it and did all kinds of atrocities in the lab. And they created the primitive worker, or black people from Africa. Then they took those people, right, and injected more DNA code into them, and then made the first
civilized man.
Civilized Homo sapien person, right? And that was from Adam's line, the Adamu or Adapa, the real Adam and Eve from your Bible, which Enoch comes from, and all these other things. Okay. So might see a little things out there that, black people say that they grabbed white people out of caves and they were cavemans and all covered with hair, and then they civilized us. That's not what it says. Actually, it says it's completely fucking backwards. No one civilized us but the Anunnaki. But the uncivilized ones were the primitive workers. And then the civilized ones, the next upgrade, which they consider to be actual Homo sapiens, would have been the line of Adam and Eve, which have been Enoch, Noah, and all those other people, Methuselah. There's a bunch of women too, Baddernash. You know what I'm saying? So that's just fucking fascinating right there. That they didn't even consider the primitive workers to be Homo sapiens. Not only they, of course, they didn't consider to be modern man. They weren't modern man. They were the first creation creators as tools, not taught things. It wasn't until who taught them? Who taught them shit? It says in the great book that Semyaza, Azazel, and 22 other so-called fallen angels, or Igigi, taught man, the primitive workers, because check it out. You might say, no, man, he taught Adam's people. Really? Because Nimma and Enki were teaching Adam and Eve. They taught them, and then they taught their friends, their kids, right? Adam and Eve did. So, and that was all done in the Eden until they got kicked out? No, they didn't get kicked out. That was the primitive workers got kicked out of the Eden, guys. You got the stories all twisted up here. Bloodlines are all fucked up, all backwards and shit. So they didn't even consider the primitive workers to be Homo sapiens. Like, what the fuck did they look like? Like, were they the hairy caveman type? Because what it sounds like when they describe them, that they were like that. Like a caveman type of a creature. They got them to just be not hairy. They had their hands to be hands. Their ears could listen to speech. Their brains could think. And they could speak yes and no type orders and shit. You know what I'm saying? But like beyond that, you might think of a modern day African. I don't think that's true. I think Ham had a play in the modern day African. But I'm saying somewhere there's a primitive line there. If you go to these countries that are all out in the middle of the ocean, ain't no one ever been to those damn places. How the fuck are there people there? How are there people? Look at those people. Match them up to other people on this planet. Wow, they look so natural, don't they? They look very primitive in their facial features. I don't even put them against myself because I'm a European type of a looking guy. But you got to put them up against like the Taino Indian type people, the Puerto Ricans, you know what I'm saying? The South Americans and stuff like that. When you start matching these people up, you're going to start seeing the pattern of like, holy shit, those people were the originals. These are the primitive people. They're so primitive. It's like you can't get around it. And then you see other people that are us. You know what I'm saying? Well, I don't give a fuck what your color is. You drive a car, you go to work, you wear a suit, you buy shit, you play with your phone and stuff. That's the us I'm talking about. There's other people that have bones in their fucking face and shoot birds out of a tree and cook it on a fire, and they have bare feet running through a jungle and shit. Those are primitive as hell, aren't they? That's wild, man. What else you got, babe?
Count of Earth years. The count of years since Anu's visit to Earth. The Nippur calendar begun in 3760 BC.
So Nippur calendar started in 36 BC.
3760 BC.
3760 BC. So 3760 BC is when
Anu came to Earth.
No.
Or it's since the last visit of Anu.
Yeah, but the Earth days started at 1.
Right. But the count of Earth years, that's when they started counting Earth years instead of stars. That's what that means.
Yeah, it was at 1. Then, go ahead. I don't know what that was saying.
Oh, I'm sorry. Count of Earth years, the count of years since Anu's visit to Earth. The Nippur calendar begun in 3760 BC.
Oh, so he's late. See, he's late. 500-something years.
Creation chamber, genetic engineering and domestication facility on the Cedar Mountains.
Domestication for humans.
Genetic engineering. Creator of all, the universal cosmic God.
That's
capital
right.
G, the only capital G in this motherfucking thing.
Yep. The cosmic God, people. The cosmic. That's what I follow. I don't follow no one that came here from a different fucking planet. I would like to talk to him. We can slap hands, share a joint. I'm going to show you my creation of your fucking creation. But I don't follow you as no God.
Damkina, spouse of Enki, renamed Ninki, daughter of Alelu. Dark-hued land, Africa. Dauru, spouse of the Niburian king Duuru. Dawn and dusk, earthling females impregnated by Enki, mothers of Adapa and Titi, Adam and Eve.
There you go. Dawn and dusk. So what does that mean? Why would they be called dawn and dusk? What happens at those 2 times of the day? One's real.
The beginning and the end.
Well, one's dark and one's real light.
Yeah, that too.
Dawn and dusk. I bet you.
Deluge, the great flood. Destiny, a predetermined course of events of orbit that is unchangeable.
Of orbit.
Duat, Egyptian name for the restricted zone of the spaceport in the Sinai.
Sinai Mountains, guys. We get out Google Earth and look all this shit up. You're going to be fucking you're going to be floored by how close this shit is. It's right here. You can go to it. Go look at it.
Dudu.
That's what I did this morning.
Endearment name for the god Adad. Ishkur. Enlil's youngest son, Inanna's uncle. Imagine your nickname being Dudu. Oh, Dudu.
So Enlil's youngest son is Dudu.
Also Inanna's uncle.
And that's Inanna's uncle. So some people think that the God in the Bible is Enlil. I've just always said, okay, cool. And so he gave supposedly his only begotten son to die on the cross. But then Jesus supposedly says, my father's not your father. Well, that would make sense if it was talking about Enlil, but also, because Marduk, Enki and Nimma and a whole bunch of other people, they made people. So when Marduk was like, my father's not your father, he was talking to the Jews, right? The people of the rocket ships. See, if you follow it back, the people of the rocket ships were created by a guy, and that guy's name was Semyaza. See, we know Semyaza is Satan right now. Why would Marduk be trying to get his son to get Satan's children on the right path? Why would he do that? That makes fucking perfect sense to me, right? And except Satan's children, Semyaza's children, the Jewish people, right? The light-skinned Jews, right? I'm just speculating. They put him to death because they're like, no, we're waiting for another dude to come and save us, right? They're waiting for Semyaza. That's why they knew Jesus wasn't their man. They knew that because it's written that that's not their man. Jesus ain't our man. We got we're waiting for someone else. They said it was another dude, so that's just super fucking interesting shit there.
Dumuzi, Enki's youngest son, in charge of shepherding in his Egyptian domain. Duna, spouse of Malelu, mother of Irid, the biblical Mahalalel and Jared.
So who was Dumuzi again?
Dumuzi is Enki's youngest son, in charge of shepherding in his Egyptian domain.
The Great Shepherd. That's who
Great
Dumuzi is. Who's Jesus? The Great Shepherd.
Dutur, a concubine of Enki, Dumuzi's mother. Duuru, or Duru, seventh ruler on Nibiru. Ea, hyphenated.
Enki.
Whose home is water, quote, the prototype Aquarius, firstborn son of Anu, half-brother of Enlil, leader of the first group of Anunnaki to arrive on Earth, the fashioner of mankind and its savior from the deluge, given the epithets Nudimud, the fashioner, Ptah, the developer in Egypt, Enki, Lord Earth, father of Marduk. He's given all those names.
Those names.
That's all him right there. He is Ea. He is Nudimud. He is Ptah. He is Enki. And he is the father of Marduk.
Now imagine if Enki, Lord Enki, had any of the qualities of other Anunnaki. Imagine if he had some of their qualities, some of their greed and lust and ego problems.
God, this could have been a whole lot different.
It could have been a whole lot different, but we would actually be serving a false god, but we'd actually be serving the person who did all the things that they said that God did.
True.
Created us.
True.
Made civilization.
Because he's the one that did it.
Survived fucking the flood with Noah. Created Adam and Eve. Like, he did all that shit.
But he sure don't get no fucking credit, does he?
Get no credit. You know why? Because his son's a little bitch. Love you,
He
Marduk,
wanted to be credit.
Marduk, you got it all fucked up, bro. Your dad fucking hooked it up, left you the throne, but maybe that's how it works. Maybe it's like, once I leave you the throne, you just take upon my accomplishments now, like all other presidents. You know, you become the president, you got to still clean up all the bullshit from the last president, or you take on the accomplishments and keep running with whatever the program was. See what I'm saying? So what if that was the situation? He was like, well, I'm just going to take over, and that's cool. You know?
Iana, this with an E, Iana, the 7-staged temple of Anu in Uruk, given by him as a present to Inanna.
That's here today.
That is the place that, you know, his favorite granddaughter, she gets the cherry and she gets Iana. She got the whole damn thing. East Wind, a satellite moon of Nibiru. Eden, location of the Anunnaki's first settlements, the biblical Eden in southern Mesopotamia, later the area of Sumer. Edini, spouse of Enkime, mother of Matushal, the biblical Enoch and Methuselah. Ednat, spouse of Matushal, mother of Lumak, the biblical Lamech. Ekur, the tall structure in the pre-diluvial mission control center, the Great Pyramid of Giza after the deluge.
Is Igor?
Ekur, E-K-U-R. Emitter, instrument used together with pulsar to revive Inanna. So it's she got shocked. I feel like. Yep. Emush, snake-infested desert where Dumuzi sought to hide. Emzara, spouse of Zisudra, the biblical Noah, the mother of his 3 sons. Emzara was her name. And Belulu, a lieutenant of Ea with the first landing party. And Dupsar, the scribe to whom Enki dictated his memoir. Engur, a lieutenant of Ea with the first landing party. Enki, Ea's epithet title after the division of duties and powers between him and his half-brother and rival Enlil. Father of Marduk by his spouse Demkina. Failed to have a son by his half-sister Ninmah, but fathered 5 other sons by concubines and also children by earthling females. Enkidu, artificially created companion of Gilgamesh. Enki Medu, a lieutenant of Ea with the first landing party. Enki May, taken heavenward and granted much knowledge, the biblical Enoch, father of Sarpanet, Marduk's spouse.
Yep.
Enki May.
So did you hear that, right? So Marduk, you know, the Anunnaki dude that they left to be king of the fucking world and shit, took over to fucking Iraq and Persia and Samaria, right? He was king of that place. And he took a wife, and the wife was, who would you say again?
The wife is Enkime, taken heavenward and granted much knowledge. The biblical Enoch, father of Sarpanet, Marduk's spouse.
Oh yeah, so Enoch's daughter, right? Remember, the messenger of God. You know, that's who Enoch was supposed to be. He's also known as Metatron for your religious buffs, right? He's Metatron. So when you hear Metatron's cube, that's a human's cube. Nothing to do with God, right? Enoch was not motherfucking holy. He was a human creation. He wasn't even once removed or twice come down by Enki and made into Noah. He wasn't Noah. He wasn't even as special as Noah. See, Enoch was just normal human, but he was the messenger or what they call the mediator, supposedly between Enlil, right? They call him God at that time, but the master of the command and the fallen angels, right? So he was supposedly they got depicted a different way, but Enoch did a different thing. See, it was depicted that Enoch was the go between the angels of God and man, right? Who were they talking about with man? They weren't talking about the people that all the Anunnaki were controlling over here with Adam and Eve and shit. They had a whole control of them. They was talking about the fallen angel people, all the humans that were being created from the fallen angels. You got to understand, entire goddamn world could have been populated by what the damn fallen angels did. They was horny, boy. They was on Mars for over 100 shars, which is 360,000 fucking years or something like that, I think. And they didn't get no pussy. None. Not one bit. They just fucking rocks. And then, you know, down the line, we get into man fucking plugging buttholes and shit. And all the mixed DNA, XYs, and oh man, I'm a man, but inside I feel like a woman, and I'm a woman, but inside I feel like a man, and we should be having sex with each other and shit, right? Where do you think that comes from? People that were on Mars for over 100 shars banging each other because they needed relief, right? It's always stressful thinking. They came to Earth, but they still instilled their practices. Why would I say that? Why would I say that? Because before they ever came here, we didn't have cities of people banging each other in the butthole. You know what I'm saying? We didn't have the mixture. It was man on woman. Whatever your belief is, that's completely fine. All I'm saying is know the truth of how this happened. Sodom and Gomorrah, that was led by the fallen angels, the Giggies. That was the cities they gave to them. What was it? Not Job. What the fuck's his name? Lot and his wife, right? His wife liked to participate in those doings. Lot didn't give a fuck. He wanted to listen. And he said, go, don't look back. And then Lot's wife was like, oh, but you know, but I like them parties, honey. I like them pineapple parties. And Lot was like, come on, bitch. And then when it was all said and done, Lot turned around and he was like, oh, you dumbass. I told you to keep coming, man, shit. So that's just the thing. Like, they brought down the whole boy loving stuff. And you go through history, and you're going to find out the truth is fucked up. They start exactly with the time of the fallen angels and then making the people. And then they create all these damn places and you find where they went, and you're going to find boy lovers. You're going to find what they called in those time boy lovers. Like the Irish weren't doing it. The Nords weren't doing it. Like these people over here weren't doing it. Why? Because they were following these certain Anunnaki that didn't do that shit. They didn't teach their people to do that stuff. But the other ones did because they were used to it. It was like they was in prison. you take prisoners out of prison, they might still bang the butthole. You never know. So what we got next?
Enemu, the temple abode of Ninurta in the sacred precinct of Lagash. Enlil, son of Anu and his sister spouse Antu, and thus the foremost son entitled to the succession to Nibiru's throne ahead of the firstborn Ea, military commander and administrator, sent to Earth to organize wide-scale gold obtainment operations, father of Ninurta by his half-sister Ninmah, and of Ninar and Ishkur by his spouse Ninlil, opposed the fashioning of the Earthlings, sought mankind's demise by the deluge, authorized the use of nuclear weapons against Marduk.
Who's that?
Enlil.
Good Lord.
Enmerkar, heroic ruler of Uruk, grandfather of Gilgamesh. Enugi, commander of the Anunnaki assigned to the gold mines in the Abzu. Enshar, sixth dynastic ruler on Nibiru, named the planets embraced by Nibiru's orbit. Enshi, the biblical Enosh, the first to be taught rites and worship. Enursag, a lieutenant of Ea with the first landing party. Enuru, third son of An and Antu, and father of Nibiru's ruler Anu. Erishkigal, granddaughter of Enlil, mistress of the lower world, southern Africa, spouse of Nergal, sister of Inanna. Eridu, the first settlement on Earth, established by Ea, his everlasting center and abode in Shumer. Era,
Everlasting.
everlasting.
That means it's still there. Shumer.
It's like protected, it seems. Era, with two R's, E-R-R-A. Epithet of Nergal after the nuclear holocaust, meaning the annihilator. Isagil, temple of Marduk in Babylon. Essence of life, the genetically encoded DNA. Etana, a king of Uruk who was carried heavenward but was too afraid to continue.
Do you guys know who Shiva is? Who's Shiva?
A goddess. That we call a goddess.
Shiva's a man.
For God.
Shiva's Nergal, the destroyer of the world.
Ah. Evil serpent, derogatory epithet for Marduk by his enemies. There's where the serpent comes in as something bad.
So, yep, just like she said right there, the evil serpent comes in to describe Marduk. Okay?
Not the devil, not Satan, not this, that, or the other, or evil in general. It's just what they called him.
The same dude.
Because he's serpent-like. He slithers. He's a little fucker.
The same dude who was left in charge to become the one God.
Yeah.
They call him the serpent.
Evil serpent called himself your one God. And that's
So-
who you worship as your one God now.
You worship God and the evil serpent in the same being.
In the same breath.
God damn it.
Evil wind, the death-bearing nuclear cloud drifting eastward towards Shumer. Fate, a course of events that is subject to free choice and is alterable. The father of all beginning, the universal creator of all, the cosmic God.
So there, when in your Bible, when they say the what was the first part? I'm sorry.
The universal creator
No,
of
the
all.
first part.
Father of all beginning.
Father of all beginnings. So
Another
when-
thing he's called.
When they say that shit in your Bible, Father of all beginnings, and we call that God, right? This is where they twist it. They twist it so you don't even know what the fuck you're talking about. You don't even know who you're like worshiping. When they say the Father of all beginning, if I pray to that, I'm praying to the right thing, I believe, right? I believe this Father of all beginning, the frequency,
Creator of all.
the creator, like God.
Capital G God, right
God
there.
said, let there be light. That was what was being happening for the beginning, right? But then in your Bible, they relate that same thing to all these characters that did all this shit that created people and all this stuff throughout history. And nope, that's wrong. That's two different. Man, if you start praying to this shit, your prayers are going to go, your prayer energy is going to go all these different places. Man, just knowing the truth about it is what I feel is the most important, and separation in that. The wordplay is super important because you follow these same freaking words in the Bible. And you're like, holy shit, they weren't even talking about what actually created us there. They were talking about the universal God. Like, is there a differential? Do you think the Anunnaki sit at the table with the other fucking universal gods? No. They got the pantheon of numbers, of the God numbers in the Bible, which tells you that it's all a lie.
Firmament, the asteroid belt, the remnant of the broken up half of Tiamat. First region, the first region of civilization granted to mankind, Shumer. Foremost son, the son born to a ruler by a half-sister and thus the legal heir. Fourth region, the Sinai Peninsula, location of the post-diluvial spaceport.
There you go.
Gaga, the moon of Anshar, or Saturn, that after Nibiru's passage became the planet Pluto.
What is it?
Gaga, the moon of Anshar, or Saturn.
Little Gaga, yeah.
That after Nibiru's passage became the planet Nibiru. It was pulled away from Saturn and circulated on its own.
Yeah, that's what I said. That's what lights the way. They show the way with that. They know once they find that, they're in the right place.
Gaida, 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 youngest son of Enkime, Enoch in the Bible. We've got a lot of different names for these different characters.
Enoch had fuck tons of names because Enoch traveled the world to all civilizations of man and had to, be the moderator. He'd be the popo. He was like the popo, the first Sherlock Holmes.
Galzu, a mysterious divine emissary who conveyed the message in dreams and visions. The messages in dreams and visions. Gateway to heaven, the purpose of the launch tower built by Marduk in Babylon.
Now, here's the thing about Galzu. Real fast, baby. Here, you smoke this while I talk about this. So, Galzu, here's my thing. We talked about the dark ones, right? You can take it. No. So,
I'll have to wait.
Now, here's the thing. We talked about the dark ones, okay, briefly. The dark ones, though, were spirits upon this earth that can't manifest in. They're spirits of the earth, so they manifest. When they manifest, if it's like a tree spirit, they manifest into the tree. If it's a rock spirit, they manifest into the rock. That's why people talk about like trees moving and water spirits and shit like that, right? That's their thing. It's only through humans being on this planet that they've been able to manifest into human form through our permission. See? Okay. Oh, check it out. This is just diabolical thinking right here. So what if Galzu, what if it's not the divine? It's 420, everybody. Cheers. Cheers, everybody. Have your big old fat hit. What if Galzu wasn't a divine dream spirit? You know what I mean? He wasn't, because Galzu was the messenger of King Anu, but he was on Nibiru. Okay, he never came to Earth. So he showed up in dream visions and shit like that. So the Anunnaki believed or thought or speculated or always questioned, was this the divine, the creator of all beginnings, that says, Earthlings should stay here and be a part of this solar system too, or universe? Or was it possibly because we were on Earth, these dark ones were like, hey man, I'm having really fun with these humans. They let us be them. So don't let them we want them to stay. Don't kill them off. You know, let that guy live. Let his family live. You know, we can do stuff. What if it was the dark ones that literally came to them in dream visions? And, you know, if you come to someone in a dream vision, you're in their mind. So if you're a powerful being, you can scan their mind into somebody they know and make it so. And you're in a dream vision. They never came as an emissary. One time they were an emissary standing in front of them. That could have literally been a dark one. You could have hitched a ride all the way back to Nibiru on one of their ships and then came back as Galzu. He could have hijacked Galzu. That's why King Anu said he hasn't seen Galzu. He could have hijacked Galzu, the dark one, brought him to Earth, you know, like Mr. Pickles does with people. He could have wore him skin suit, said to do this, and Galzu could literally be like laying off in a weed somewhere, and as the dark one left.
Gateway to Heaven, the purpose of the launch tower built by Marduk in Babylon. Geshtinana, Dumuzi's sister, who betrayed him. Gibil, a son of Enki, a charge of metallurgy, maker of magical artifacts.
Who's that? Geshtinana?
Gibil.
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 Gibil was the
B-I-L.
Gibil. That was what do they call it? That was the blacksmith of the gods. You can go through all throughout history, and there's an island, fucking Crete, I think it was. The island's in all kinds of motherfucking movies where there was one man and he was supposed to be a god, but he got banished to this planet to make weapons, godly weapons for everybody. Go ahead, dude.
Gegunu, Inanna's house of nighttime pleasure.
Oh.
Gilgamesh, king of Uruk, being a son of a goddess, went in search of immortality. Gursu, sacred precinct of Ninurta in Lagash. Great Below, the continent of Antarctica.
The Great Below is Antarctica. See, I thought maybe it could have been like underground. But so when they talk about the Great Below, that's when they're talking about Antarctica, and they don't ever talk about that shit until they say the Great Below was rumbling. Great rumblings were happening in the Great Below. Earthquakes were happening on Antarctica at the time. Oh, very interesting. I've never read this shit. I have no fucking idea. I always just think about where shit is.
Yeah, this is new, all new to him because there, like I said, there's references in here as to what we've speculated on during this whole story. Great Calamity, the devastation and the aftermath of the nuclear holocaust in 2024 BC.
2024 BCE.
The devastation and the aftermath of the nuclear holocaust in 2024 BC. Interesting.
Wow.
Great.
Next year.
Yeah.
So
well,
2 years. 2 years, there's going to be a nuclear holocaust.
Well,
a nuclear
2 years and however long ago.
no, 2 years. Remember, it's cylindrical.
It is.
Cylindrical.
Great Deep, the Antarctic Ocean.
The Great Deep is Antarctic Ocean. Is that the Arctic Ocean now? There is no Antarctic Ocean, is there?
I'm not really sure.
I think it's the Arctic Ocean. It's the Great Deep.
I'm not very good with my
geography. So you know they got the Marianas Trench?
Right, Mariana Trench.
Yeah.
Great Sea, the Mediterranean Sea, also called the Upper Sea.
Oh.
Gugstone, a beam-emitting crystal transferred from the Great Pyramid to Mount Mashu. Gug, G-U-G. Gugstone. Guru, a lieutenant of Ea at the First Landing. Ham, second son of the hero of the deluge, brother of Shem and Japhet.
Is Japhet the youngest? I thought Ham was the youngest son.
No, it just says second son and brother of. It doesn't
say. Second son. I thought Ham was the youngest. Or is it Japheth? Japhet.
Japhet.
It's Japheth.
Japhet.
Yeah, Japheth.
Hammered bracelet, the asteroid belt, also called the firmament.
The firmament. Flat earthers. The firmament, right? God said the firmament is the asteroid belt, bro.
Hapi, the ancient Egyptian name for the Nile River. Haran, city in northwestern Mesopotamia, now in Turkey, that served as a twin city of Ur, sojourn place of Abraham, staging place of Marduk for usurpation of supremacy on earth.
I believe that was followed up by being Troy. I believe, possibly.
Heavenly bright object. I'm good. A secret divine device enshrining the site of kingship. Hemta, Egyptian name for ancient Egypt. Horon, the Egyptian god now called Horus.
Horus.
House of fashioning, genetic laboratory in the cedar forest for crops and livestock.
So
House of fashioning.
So you see, so the House of Fashioning was for crops
and livestock.
The House of Life was where they made the primitive workers.
Which is actually next. House of Life, the biogenetic facilities of Enki in the Abzu.
That's where they made the primitive workers and any kind of crazy fucked up animals that they made. Okay. Now, you didn't hear me say that's where he made mankind. That's not where he made mankind. They specifically say that those were not mankind. Those were not Homo sapiens that they created in the House of Life. Those were primitive workers. So they were the colors that they said they were, and they were obviously what we would consider to be cavemen. Just saying.
Hurum, a mountain where the hero Banda died and came back to life. Ib, third dynastic king on Nibiru, given the royal title on Ib.
Who's Banda again?
Banda was, because we actually wanted to take note of him as well. He is the heroic ruler of Uruk, the biblical Erech, and father of Gilgamesh.
Father of Gilgamesh. So there's another dude there. There's another dude there. I think it was Badderdash, the other one. So there's another guy there that died on a mountain and resurrected. Was resurrected. Insane, right? We've all kinds of hints to Jesus in this story, to the Jesus we know of a man dying on the fucking cross, right? Never once do we ever hear about the shit though, because we're not to that yet. We're not even close, man.
Ib, third dynastic king on Nibiru, given the royal title on Ib. Ibru, grandson of Arbakhad, the biblical Eber, E-B-E-R, forebear of Abraham.
Forebear, that means the dad before, right?
Forebear. I honestly don't know exactly.
I think the forebear before Abraham is who became before Abraham. So like the father or maybe because Abraham, wasn't he a king? So maybe that was the king, forebear. What the fuck?
Well, four is before, and bear, B-E-A-R, might as well look it up, right? Because I don't want to speak wrongly of what it actually means. His father. But I don't specifically, I'm not 100% sure.
What does forebear mean?
Yeah,
Here's the definition of forbear. Politely or patiently restrain an impulse to do something. Refrain.
That doesn't seem right. Well, how's that spelled? Let us figure out what this means.
How does it spelled?
Forebear.
Forbear, though, right? To keep oneself from doing something, hold back, refrain. Forbear from making a comment. To be tolerant or patient in the face of provocation.
Okay, so totally not what we were thinking. Forebear of Abraham, like what? He was keeping him from doing something, maybe? I don't know. I'm not sure.
The meaning of forbear is to hold oneself back from, especially with an effort. How to use forbear.
So he's forebear of Abraham. However, that is perceived there. Interesting. Interesting. That's a little confusing right there. Ibrum, scion of a priestly royal family from Nippur and Ur, the biblical Abraham.
What happened? I'm sorry, I was reading this comment. What was that?
Ibrum or Ibrum, scion of a priestly royal family from Nippur and Ur, the biblical Abraham.
Okay, so the biblical Abraham. So he's a scion
of a priestly royal family from Nippur and Ur.
So you hear, so he's a scion of a priestly, first of all, royal, second of all, family from where?
From Nippur and Ur.
So Nippur and Ur, right? We all know about Ur. They found Ur, right? So Nippur and Ur, they brought these two kingships together. We all know that. I believe Enki ran Ur and fucking something else. It was like his kingdom thing. And then, so they took these two people, bred them together. So I guarantee it was like one pure blood of Enki's, one pure blood of Enlil's, bred these people together to make this pure bloodline to be the kings. Again, remember Enlil had a dream vision to pick one person to be in charge of everybody, to make after this cataclysm would happen, this one man would be the new predecessor. What does it say? What's that word? Progressor. When you make people from here on, he's going to be that person. Like everyone's going to die on the planet. And then from his line, people are going to be able to keep living. So that's pretty fucking interesting.
Igigi, the 300 Anunnaki assigned to shuttlecraft and the way station on Mars, abducted female Earthlings as wives, frequent rebels.
Also known as the fallen angels, the Elohim, the fucking Nephilim, right? I think the Seraphim, like all those fucking things. They have so many fucking names. One of the giants is one of them. Is it the Nephilim?
Sure. Illibrat, a vizier and emissary of Anu, fetched Adapa for the journey to Nibiru.
Yeah.
Imperishable star, the Egyptian name for the planet from which Ra had come to Earth. So that's what they called Nibiru.
Yeah.
Imperishable star.
Star is what
the Egyptian name for Nibiru.
Wow.
But not Nibiru, the planet that Ra came from.
But that's Nibiru.
Yeah, I know, but they don't like it specifically does not say Nibiru.
So here, so wow, that's so fucking interesting. Hold on. So here, they're not Egyptians. They weren't called Egyptians, first of all, because that's the maybe the Egyptians were when the humans lived there, the sheeple.
Yeah, okay? that was Ra's sheeple.
So Ra's sheeple
or Marduk or whomever.
Ra's sheeple knew. They knew their God came from a different planet
to Earth. Well,
fuck you.
Look at what's your favorite movie and show with the Egypts and the circle thing?
Oh yeah.
I mean,
Stargate.
It shows them knowing that it's a Stargate that they come through from somewhere fucking else. Like it shows them that show, and in those movies, it shows the truth of not on this planet.
That's our speculations of it. That's our TV show speculations.
True.
But I'm saying it literally in those days they literally knew that Ra came from a different planet, making him an extraterrestrial, an alien by our words. Holy shit, that just blows a whole blood hole out of my ass right there, because that's insane.
Well, this is obviously after, when he's still, when it's been given to him, when it's been handed over. He is, everybody's given up fighting Marduk, and it's his. Fine. Now that's his, and his followers, his people continue to know this until a certain point, I feel like. And then wait a minute, we can't know that there's outer space now, type of thing. Interesting. Very interesting.
Oh, they all got wiped out. They went underground and forgot.
Inanna, daughter of Nanar and Ningal, twin sister of Utu, was betrothed to Dumuzi, ferocious in war, lusty in lovemaking, mistress of Uruk and of the third region, known as Ishtar in Akkadian, associated with the planet we call Venus.
Venus, the goddess of Venus.
So yeah, Inanna is that goddess. She is that girl, okay? She is that woman that we think of when we think goddess.
In the third region, we know as Indus Valley, right? So that's India, right? Indus Valley is where she went. So that's in India. And I believe that's where Anu landed, that he gave her that spot. She went to Indus Valley. And then we hear about in the sheeple era, in the human era, right? In our time of frame, we hear about the city of the gods. Now, this is before Jesus' time. Before Jesus' time, the city of the gods stood there, right? So, who built that? All these motherfuckers. That's where the Enlilites were at, right? The Enlil people were in Iran. That's where Enlil's people were. But also they spilled out over into India and shit. I think that they call India the damn peninsula. There's a lot of peninsulas to pick from,
Inbu, a fruit brought from Nibiru to Earth, source of the Anunnaki's elixir. Inbu, I-N-B-U. That, my friends.
That's what we need to find out.
That is our satiated fruit.
That's the number one secret, Inbu.
I-N-B-U, Inbu. And that is what we believe to be the seeds and cannabis that came to.
Yes, but that is our forever. That is our forever mission on this planet, is to find out what the fuck Inbu is exactly. We need to find out what Inbu is exactly. Could it be cannabis? Could it be an ancient fruit that may be around no more? It's got to be around some more. It's got to be around. Could it be an ancient form of cannabis, an ancient form of hemp, an ancient form of, we know it wasn't a psychedelic. You might think to me or say to me, why do you think it's a drug? Why do you think it's a type of a medicinal type plant? Because they said it was. They said nothing was satiating them. Nothing. They ate every fucking thing on our planet, and nothing was they were getting like skinny and shit. They were getting old. So they had to get something, right? Cannabis, we're a lesser of them. And cannabis literally, I believe, will cure anything we have. That's not man-made, created or something like that. But I believe the cannabis will cure anything we have. So what cures us? Sustain something else. Mm-hmm. I would think what would cure us, we're lower form, would sustain them and keep them powerful, keep them witchy, keep that frequency fucking booming. That's just how I see it, feel it. I feel that. Like we're a lower being, a lesser being, right? Some people say, we're the gods. Show me you can fucking fly. Show me the hocus pocus. If you're that God that you think you are, show me you can do that. Until you do that, you haven't mastered what they mastered. You haven't done that yet. They blocked us. They fucked us over, man, because Adam knew it all. Adam was the motherfucker. That's why he got to go to Nibiru. Because they were like, holy, he's exactly like us. He could do the hocus pocus. He could talk to animals. He could fucking talk to trees. He could make the water move. You know what I'm saying? Motherfuckers, you're like, how the fuck did they part the Red Sea? They knew how. You know how to fucking manipulate water? No? Go learn. Look it up. Watch people splitting water with their mind, dude. I'm just saying, you might say it's hocus pocus and it's TV, it's TikTok, something like that. Hit them motherfuckers up. Tell them you want to meet. Tell them I want to see it from my own eyes. I want to see it right now. Split that water. Move that. I've seen people levitating and shit. You're crazy as shit, man. I've been watching it lately. I'm like, these people have really focused their mind. There's techniques for all kinds of different stuff. I'm going to show her some stuff and see if she can do it. I bet you she can. What else you got there, Bubblehead?
Irid.
Your head is so huge.
I know.
Cool.
I got curlers under here.
No, you said tone. It just looks so cool.
Irid, the biblical Jared, father of Enkime, the biblical Enoch. Ishkur, youngest son of Enlil by his spouse Ninlil, the Akkadian god Adad. Ishtar, the Akkadian name for the goddess Inanna.
Inanna.
Ishun, epithet given to Ninurta after the nuclear holocaust, meaning the scorcher.
Scorcher.
Isamud, housemaster and vizier of Enki. Cain, the biblical Cain, who killed his brother Abel, and was banished. Kalkal, gatekeeper of Enlil's residence in the Abzu. Ki, Ki, firm ground, quote unquote, the planet Earth. Ki.
Yep, firm ground. Like the water was called something else. Underneath the water was called something else. It was the dry continents. It was Ki, Earth.
Ki Engi.
Dirt.
Shumer, land of lofty watchers, the first region of civilization.
Shumer.
Kingu, Tiamat's principal satellite, Earth's moon after the celestial battle. Kingu.
Kingu.
Kishar, spouse of Nibiru's fifth ruler, the planet we call Jupiter. Kishar-gal, spouse of Nibiru's fourth ruler. Kishi, the first city of men in Shumer, where kingship began.
So in Shumer, okay, was a big, huge area, just like the Eden was, right? The Eden's fucking shit tons of countries, I think, are the Eden right now. But Shumer was a big, huge area. Then inside Shumer, they made this first city of men called what?
Kishi.
Kishi, right?
Kishi.
Kishi. And when you look that up, if you just research that, you're going to find yourself in the middle of Iran. And then you might ask yourself, man, remember Desert Storm? Remember what was it called? The Gulf, what's that Gulf there? Arabian Gulf, the Gulf War. Remember the Gulf War? We were fucking fighting for Iran. The kingship where the first man's kingship was. Man, if you follow the trail of those battles and those wars, they lead right to Gilgamesh's, right to his grave, they followed the path and trail. They had to learn it on the way and see if it was real. And they started finding everything. And they were like, oh shit, this is really, we can turn on the Stargates, guys. We've been cloning since the 80s. Oh, we got this. Let's do this.
Kula, a lieutenant of Ea during the first landing. Kunin, the biblical Kinan, son of Enshi and Noam. Larsa, one of Anunnaki's pre-diluvial cities, reestablished after the deluge. Lagash, built the same time as Larsa, both to serve as beacon cities, after the deluge, reestablished as Ninurta's principal city. Lahama, spouse of Lama. Lahamu, the planet we call Venus. Lahma, with an H in there, the 8th dynasty king on Nibiru.
Hold the fuck on. You said Lahamu is the planet we call Venus?
Lahamu, Lahamu.
So every time you were talking about Lahamu in there, I thought you was talking about the moon. What the fuck were they doing on Venus?
The moon is
Key.
Shit.
You just had it a couple seconds
I know. Kingu.
Kingu is the moon.
Kingu is the moon. Lahamu is Venus.
Lahamu is Venus. So hold on now.
And Lamu is Mars.
Lamu is Mars.
Lahamu is Venus. And Kingu is the moon.
So wait a minute though. I swear to God, we might have to go back and read some shit one of these days, because here we go. We got Marduk was on Mars for a long ass time. And he's like, yo, I'm tired of Mars, man. This place sucks. He's like, all right, well, you can't be the king of Earth and shit. You can't rule Earth. But here, let's go check out Lahamu. I thought they was talking about the moon the whole motherfucking time. Like, imagine these motherfuckers just chilling on the moon, looking back at Earth and all of its roundness. Remember me saying that? Go back in some times. You'll hear me saying the shit.
Yeah. And they went to Lahamu, not Kingu.
They was on Venus.
They went to Venus.
They was on motherfucking Venus,
and
bro.
Looking back at Earth from Venus.
Venus. Get the fuck out of here. Yeah. Holy Jesus hell. I think we just fucking hit some new shit.
He just found something out. See, this is good to read.
Listen, you ever heard of Valiant Thor? This motherfucker say he came from Venus. But also, whose goddamn name is known for Venus? Inanna. Her domain is Venus. What the fuck is her domain doing in Venus?
Maybe she went to Venus.
She obviously went to fucking Venus and made people. I want to go to Venus now. I want to go to Lahamu. I thought fucking Lahamu.
That's what they always say, dude. Like men are from Mars and women are from Venus. That's a fucking, how many times has that been said? Books been written, this, that, and the other. How we correspond with each other and communicate and live. Like Inanna is on Venus. She is the goddess. And Mars.
So hold on. White people potentially came from Mars and Venus. White people potentially came from Mars and Venus. You know, and melanated people came from Earth.
That's very, very possible because
in the mix though, in the bloodline, there was the blood, the white blood was in there. The non-melanated or peach, whatever, was in that bloodline because look, if Inanna went there, that same blood, she went there, made people, you know what I'm saying? In Venus, made white people. Guarantee they're white as fuck, sitting that close to the sun, underneath the ground. They're under the ground. Oh, they're under the ground. Look, Valiant Thor came, he was white as hell. You know what I'm saying? So look, on Mars, that was the fallen angels. We already know they made a race of fucking red-haired fucking giants and shit. 6 fingers, 6 toes, fucking 2 rows of teeth and shit. You know, I used to know this girl. She was short. She had like this short syndrome thing, but she had motherfucking 2 rows of teeth, bro. And I was like, you know, I wanted to hook up, but it was like, I saw her from down low one time. I was sitting in the car and I was looking up at her and I was like, oh shit, nah, man. And it's like, that's a meat grinder, motherfucker. Shit. And she's like a meat grinder, bro. It was just like rows of teeth in that motherfucker. I was like, it's a goddamn shark. Run. I was like, why? How come you don't answer my phone no more? Oh, hell no, I'm good.
Oh my God.
I'm good. I don't even know what the fuck. I don't even know what the shit, man. Like, just imagine having more rows of teeth, though, and you eat food. And it's all stuck in your teeth. Where are you?
All right, let's keep on. We're going on 4 hours here.
Well, keep going.
Land beyond the seas, the Americas, settled by Ka'in's descendants, overseen by Ninurta. Land of the Two Narrows, the lands along the Nile River. Landing place, the platform for skyships and rocket ships in the Cedar Mountains. Law of the Seed, the
you
rule.
Turn that off if you want.
Turn what? It's fine. I don't want to stop it in the middle. Law of the Seed, the rule giving succession precedence to a son by a half-sister. Life Seed, DNA extracted from semen. Lower Abzu, the southern tip of Africa, domain of Nergal and Narishkigal. Lower Sea, the body of water now called the Persian Gulf.
Okay, so in Irish Kigal, that is the fucking ruler of hell. Okay, the southern tip of Africa, that's the ruler of hell. So I guess hell's in the southern tip of Africa. Shit.
Okay, lower world. Where's lower? Yeah, it's lower world. The southern hemisphere is lower world, including southern Africa and Antarctica.
Oh, maybe that's who lived on Antarctica.
Yeah. So lower sea is the body of water now called the Persian Gulf. Lower world is the southern hemisphere, including southern Africa and Antarctica. And that is where Ereshkigal, mistress of the lower world, Southern Africa, sister of Inanna.
In Southern Africa.
Yeah.
They were in Southern Africa.
Southern Africa.
Not Antarctica.
Well, that's just what it concluded.
Yes.
Lugal, literally great man, epithet for a chosen king. Lulu, the genetically engineered hybrid, the primitive worker. They were called Lulus. Lumak, son of Matushal and Idnat, the biblical Lamech. Magan is ancient Egypt, Magan. Malelu, son of Cunin and Mualit, the biblical Mahalalel. Marduk.
Mahalalel. What was that?
Malelu, son of Cunin and Mualit, is the biblical Mahalalel.
Mahalalel. Are you speaking Hawaiian? Did them people make Hawaiians and shit? Is that where the Hawaiian language came from?
Languages.
I mean, that sounds like some Hawaiian's name.
Yeah. I think it's referring to Mualit is the biblical Mahalalel. And Malelu is the son of them.
Yeah, no, I'm just saying that's.
I was trying to decipher myself.
That's all like sounds Hawaiian to me.
Very much so. Very much so. Marduk, firstborn son and legal heir of Enki and Damkina, worshipped as Ra in Egypt, jealous of his brothers, unsatisfied with Egypt alone as his domain, claimed and after exiles and wars attained supremacy on earth from his city, Babylon.
One more time.
Okay, one more time.
I don't think people just understand what the fuck is happening. I just don't really think it.
Marduk, firstborn son and legal heir of Enki and Damkina, worshipped as Ra in Egypt, jealous of his brothers, unsatisfied with Egypt alone as his domain, claimed and after exiles and wars attained supremacy on earth from his city, Babylon.
Supreme.
Reign supreme, y'all.
Supreme on the earth.
The whole
from
earth.
His city in Babylon. Why the fuck the hell is everyone tripping on Babylon then? He reigned supreme. He was the one God. What was the problem? What is the problem with Babylon? I just want to know. Nobody will tell me the secrets of why they hate Babylon so much. That Babylon is in the Middle East. That's Iraq. What the fuck does Babylon have to do? I know. I gotta see.
I know. I didn't even realize.
Does Babylon have anything to do with Jamaica? Does Babylon have anything to do with like Africa? What is Babylon? What is Iraq? What does Iraq have to do with like Rastafarian? When they say they're following Zion and Ra, or I mean Allah, or whoever the hell they're following, they're talking about Marduk. But then they're denying Babylon. Like, I don't understand. Like, you heard the last song, right? When we first started, the last song was all about Babylon and fuck Babylon, blah, blah, blah. So I'm just confused. I already knew that was the thing, but I'm just like, what the fuck is happening here? Who's Jesus?
Matushal, son of Enkime and Edini, the biblical Methuselah. Me, capital M-E, tiny objects encoded with formulas for all aspects of science and civilization. Tiny objects. Meluhha, Meluhha, is ancient Nubia.
Nubia is in Africa.
Mina, the king whose reign began the first dynasty of Egyptian pharaohs.
So the first dynasty of man kings in Egypt, which is, I believe, Nubia, right? So the first kingship was in Egypt with the pharaohs, and it was Mina.
Mina Nefer, Egypt's first capital, Memphis.
Memphis was their first capital. Oh, cool. Tennessee.
Mission Control Center in Nibruki, Nippur, before the deluge, on Mount Moriah after the deluge. Mount Meshu, the instrument-equipped mount at the post-diluvial Sinai spaceport. Mount of Salvation, the peaks of Ararat, where the ark rested after the deluge. Mount of Showing the Way. Mount Moriah, site of post-diluvial Mission Control Center. Mualit, spouse of Kunin, mother of Malelu. Musardu, one of 7 birth mothers of the first earthlings. Mushdamu, a lieutenant of Ea at the first landing. Nabu, son of Marduk and Sarpanit, organized human followers of Marduk. Namtar, fate, quote unquote, vizier of Erishkigal in her lower world domain.
Erishkigal.
Nanar, son of Enlil and Ninlil, the first Anunnaki leader to be born on Earth. Patron god of Ur, and Haran, associated with the moon, known as Sin, S-I-N, in Akkadian, father of Utu and Inanna.
So that's crazy. We have Sin, we have Fate. We learned who was Fate. That's fucking cool, man.
Naram Sin, grandson of Sargon and a successor of a king of Shumer and Akkad. Navel of the Earth, epithet for the location of Mission Control Center. Nebat, sister wife of the Egyptian god Satu, the one we call Nephthys. Nergal, a son of Enki, ruler of the lower Abzu, with his spouse Erishkigal, unleashed the nuclear weapons together with Ninurta.
So the ruler of hell and Nergal fucking went and fucking unleashed hell on Earth. The apocalypse. Straight the fuck up. They're the horsemen with fate and sin. See? By their sides.
Netiru, Egyptian word for gods, meaning guardian watchers. So Netiru, N-E-T-E-R-U, is an Egyptian word that means guardian watchers, is which they called the gods. They were their guardian watchers. They weren't their, creators, even though they were, but they were their guardian watchers.
Yes.
Nibiru, home planet of the Anunnaki, its orbital period, Ashar, equals 3,600 Earth years, became the 12th member of the solar system after the celestial battle. Nibruki, the original Mission Control Center, Enlil city in Shumer, called Nippur in Akkadian. Nimug, one of 7 birth mothers of the first earthlings. Nimul, mother of Ea, Enki, by Anu. Not being an official spouse and half-sister, her son, though firstborn, lost the succession to Enlil, whose mother was Antu. Ninagal, a son of Enki, appointed by him to navigate the boat of the hero of the deluge. Nimbara, one of 7 birth mothers from the first earthlings. Ningal, spouse of Nanar, Sin, mother of Inanna and Utu. Ningursig, a lieutenant of Ea at the first landing. Ningazida, son of Enki, master of genetics and other sciences, called Tehuti or Thoth in ancient Egypt, went with followers to the Americas after he was deposed by his brother Marduk.
Yeah. See that?
Ninguana, one of 7 birth mothers of the first earthlings. Ninarsag, epithet of Ninma after she was granted an abode in the Sinai Peninsula. Ninkashi, female Anunnaki in charge of beer making. Ninki, title of Damkina, Ea's spouse, when he was entitled Enki, Lord of Earth.
What if it was Hobbs?
Ninib, spouse of Ib, the third dynastic king on Nibiru. Ninima, one of 7 birth mothers of the first earthlings. Ninlil, espoused by Enlil after she forgave his date rape, mother of Nanar and Ishkur. Ninmada, one of 7 birth mothers of the first earthlings. Ninma, half-sister of Enki and Enlil, mother of Ninurta by Enlil, chief medical officer of the Anunnaki, helped Enki to genetically engineer the primitive worker, peacemaker among the rival and warring Anunnaki clans, renamed Ninarsag. Ninmug, one of 7 birth mothers of the first earthlings. Ninshubur, chambermaid of Inanna. Ninsun, the Anunnaki mother of Gilgamesh.
Who's it?
Ninsun, the Anunnaki mother of Gilgamesh.
Ninsu. We should
or
follow.
Ninsun. It could be sun.
Yeah, we should follow her line back and see where the fuck she came from.
Ninurta, Enlil's foremost son, mothered by Enlil's half-sister Ninma and his legal successor, battled with Anzu, who seized the Tablets of Destinies, and with Marduk, found the alternative sources for gold, and established alternative space facilities in the Americas, the patron god of Lagash. So Ninurta is pretty awesome.
Ninurta's the shit.
Ninurta's the shit. A lot of things wouldn't have been done without Ninurta either.
That's both.
Nippur, Akkadian name of Nibruki, where the calendar of Earth years was begun in 3760 BC, birthplace of Abraham.
So where Abraham was, that was where Earth years started ticking. Year 1.
Nisaba, goddess of writing and measuring. Noam, sister wife of Enshi, mother of Kunin. North Crest.
Sister wives have always been a thing, guys.
North Crest, abode of Enlil in the Cedar Mountains.
North Crest.
North
That's
Crest.
fucking cool. And the Cedar Mountains are gone.
Yeah. North Wind, one of Nibiru's satellite moons. Nudimud, an epithet for Ea, meaning he who fashions things. Also the planet Neptune.
Yep. So Nudimud was another name for Enki. Nudimud.
Nudimud. Noongal, pilot of spacecraft. Nusku, Enlil's vizier and emissary. Olden times, the period that began with the first landing and ended with the deluge.
So that was the olden times. So I do believe when I used to go to the damn Bible school, what was it called? Sunday school. They taught us that there was these times called the Old Testament. And then God didn't like what the hell he created. So he said, I want to just wipe that clean, and made a flood happen. And then there came the New Testament. So in the olden times, all that shit happened, and then the flood happened. And then what the Bible don't tell you, people, it's all that other shit that happened for like 20,000 fucking years. Okay? Earth years. And then the evil wind happens. Blows, motherfuckers, kills everybody. Motherfuckers go on the ground. Abraham comes out. Troy is built. You know what I'm saying? Greece is built. Rome is built. Every goddamn thing's established around here. Or was that here already? Woo! No, it was here afterwards. Go ahead, baby. Your Bible don't tell you about that shit.
Place of celestial chariots. Spaceport of the Anunnaki. Plant of being young again. The secret rejuvenation plant found by Gilgamesh. Plant of life. used by Enki's robotic emissaries to revive Inanna. Primitive worker, the first genetically engineered earthling.
So he had robotic emissaries. The plant of life was used by his robotic emissaries. That means his groupies that were with him, his people that were with him were robotic.
Well, that's the one when they go with Inanna into like the underworld when it got stripped, so that she was at least had somebody that wouldn't be stripped with her. And those were the people that might have revived her. They were like, exactly, they couldn't, and he called them robotic, evidently.
Okay, they were really golems, so that's where the Jewish people learned all that shit.
So yeah, that's the ones that revived her after she got when she went down for the jacuzzi.
The plant of life. What's the plant of life, people?
It revives Inanna.
It sustains people, right? And it revives the Anunnaki. So is it Nimbu?
I don't know. It doesn't say that it is. Actually, it usually references what things are at least 80% of the time in here. So,
but only 80% of the time, because I'm referencing shit that who they are, like Ningal or whoever the fuck is Thoth. But they didn't say that. He said he escaped to the Americas, and then we see all this Egyptian shit built in America. And how was that here? It wasn't Egyptian. It was Thoth and Marty before that, but no one talks about that.
Primitive worker, the first genetically engineered earthling. Primordial begetter. Absu, the sun, and the creation cosmogony. Prior times, the period of events on Nibiru before the missions to Earth.
Prior times.
So we have prior times, and then we have olden times.
Prior times is something we need to research too, because you're going to find out that they grew their house out of crystals and their ships out of crystals. It's fucking fascinating.
Ta, Enki's name in Egypt, meaning the developer. It commemorates his deeds in raising the land from under the flood's waters.
So he's Ta. He's Ta. And the sheeple there thought that he raised the land out of the waters. They didn't know the waters receded.
Pulsar, instrument used together with the emitter to revive the dead. Ra, the Egyptian name for Marduk, meaning the bright one. Sarpanit, an earthling, the spouse of Marduk, mother of Nabu. Sati, third son of Adapa and Titi, the biblical Seth. Satu, son of Marduk and Sarpanit, the Egyptian god known as Seth. So funny enough, there's two different people with the name of Seth right after the other. Sati, the third son of Adapa and Titi, Adam and Eve, the biblical Seth, who we read about in the Bible. And then Satu, with a U at the end instead of an I, is the son of Marduk and Sarpanit, an Egyptian god known as Seth.
Exactly.
Not the biblical Seth, but an Egyptian god Seth. So there's two different Seths, two different people.
Which we're going to follow all that. And you're going to see some fucked up shit. Because remember, Seth and Adam and Eve's son, because there was Cain, Abel, and then Seth. So Seth was destined to be the king of the planet. You know, so he became the king of Samaria. You follow that. And then the Egyptian god Seth was the bad god. He was like their Satan. It was insane, right? But then we also call Jesus and Satan, you know, Lucifer, they supposedly have identical stories. Identical. They're all light bringers, knowledge bringers, and the shining star, the North Star, or fucking the morning star, or the rising star, or whatever the fuck it is. They both have the same story, but so does this. Go ahead, baby.
Scorcher, epithet for Ninurta in his role in the use of nuclear weapons.
Scorcher, Shiva.
Second region, Egypt and Nubia, when they were granted civilization.
Brothers, milk, what up?
Seed of life, the genetic material encoding all life forms, DNA.
DNA.
Shamash, Akkadian name for Utu. Shamgaz, a leader of the Igigi and instigator of the abduction of earthling females.
which in the Bible you guys call him Lucifer.
Shar, one orbital period of Nibiru around the sun, equal to 3,600 Earth years. Sharukin, the first king of unified Shumer and Akkad, the one we call Sargon the First.
That was dope. So is that why we say, Sharukin?
Sharukin, I don't know.
Sharukin. You know when they do their karate shit?
Oh, is that why? I don't know. The one we call Sargon the First. Shem, the eldest son of the hero of the deluge. Shumer, land of the Watchers, the first region of post-diluvial civilization. Sumer. Shurubak, healing center of Ninmah from before the deluge and reestablished thereafter. Sin, the Akkadian name for Nanar. Sipar, the spaceport city in pre-diluvial times, commanded by Utu, his cult center after the deluge. Skybirds, aircraft of the Anunnaki for flying in Earth's skies. Snow-hued place, Antarctica. South Wind, a satellite moon of Nibiru. Storm Bird, Ninurta's aerial battlecraft. Sud, a nurse, also the epithet name for Ninlil before she became Enlil's spouse. Susuziana, one of 7 birth mothers of the first Earthlings. Tablets of Destinies, devices used in Mission Control Center to track and control orbits and trajectories. Later on, a record of unalterable decisions. Tehuti, Egyptian name for Ningazida as Thoth, the god of science and knowledge. Third region, domain allotted to Inanna, the Indus Valley civilization. Tiamat, primordial planet that broke up in the celestial battle, giving rise to the asteroid belt and to the Earth.
And the firmament.
Tiamat, wife of Adamu, first earthling female able to procreate. Tilmun, land of the missiles, the 4th region in the Sinai Peninsula. Tiru, oracle priest in Nippur, Ur and Haran, the biblical Terah, father of Abraham. Titi, spouse of the first civilized man, Adapa, mother of Cain and Abel. Udbar, father of the scribe and Dubsar. Ulmash, a lieutenant of Ea at the first landing. Unuki, city built for Anu's visit, granted by him to Inanna, later called Uruk, the biblical Erech, throne city of Gilgamesh and other demigods.
Where's Iraq?
Upper Plain, area in northern Mesopotamia where the descendants of Arpachshad dwelt. Upper Sea, the Mediterranean Sea. Ur, Akkadian name for Urim, the rulers of Shumer and Akkad, when the nuclear calamity happened, are known as kings of the 3rd dynasty of Ur, the biblical Ur of the Chaldees, from which Abraham migrated to Haran. Oh, end of sentence. Migrated to Haran. Urim, Nanar's city in Shumer, and the land's capital three times, including at the time of the Great Calamity, a thriving center of culture, industry, and international trade. Ur-Nammu, first king of the 3rd dynasty of Ur. Uruk, Akkadian name for Unug-Ki, the biblical Erech. Utu, Shamash in Akkadian, twin brother of Inanna, commander of the spaceport of Sipar in pre-diluvial times, and of the one in Sinai after the deluge. Giver of laws from his cult center in Sipar after the deluge. Godfather of Gilgamesh.
Is that like Mount Sinai?
Water of life, used to revive Inanna and bring her back from the dead. So a number of things were used in tandem there.
Yeah.
Water of youth, promised by Ra to his followers in an afterlife.
Wow. Wow.
Wow.
Sheeple.
Way of Anu, the central band of the celestial sphere containing the zodiacal constellations. On Earth, the central band between the northern way of Enlil and the southern way of Enki. Way of Enki, the celestial sphere below the 30th parallel south.
There you go.
Way of Enlil, the celestial sphere above the 30th parallel north.
You know where that's at?
Weapons of terror, nuclear weapons used at first on Nibiru and then finally on Earth. West Wind, a satellite moon of Nibiru, 1 of 7. Whirlwind, a satellite moon of Nibiru, 1 of 7. Whirlwinds, helicopter-like aerial vehicles of the Anunnaki.
Wow.
White Land, Antarctica. Winged serpent, epithet of Ningazita in the Americas.
Yep. That's Thoth. The winged serpent. Lord Kukulkan, Quetzalcoatl. He had tons of names because there was tons of the different cultures. Like I said, these gods were horny. You think he found the people came, I believe, somewhere over there in the Asias. He told them, hey, man, let's make fucking big boats. And then they floated probably to the Polynesian areas. But what kind of boats they're going to make out of palm trees and shit? I don't fucking know. But that place is a lush, gorgeous place. They probably stopped there and created all these motherfucking things as a waypoint to create more people. And then you got King Kamehameha. That dude was a giant. I don't know what the fuck you guys know, but that dude's a giant. All those kings and shit were huge, giant people. And then they came to America. It's wild, man. Thoth.
Zamush, land of precious stones, part of Inanna's third region.
So, land of precious stones was Zamush, part of Inanna's third region, which was the Indus Valley. India had a bunch of precious stones.
Zisudra, hero of the deluge, a son of Enki by an earthling, the biblical Noah. And last but not least, Zumul, astronomer priest in Uruk during Anu's visit.
Yep.
And thus completes front to back the Lost Book of Enki.
That's right. And Nimrod, the biblical Nimrod, who built the Tower of Babel after the biblical flood, so that way they could get off the earth and go to space, is none other than who you follow, the last known god at their times of writing this to be left in control of the whole earth, and that's your friend Ra, better known as Marduk, the brat of the Anunnaki. But see, here it is though. We have from that time right there, right, where we already know Persia fell, like Iraq fell, it got taken over, right? We had time of Alexandria for a while that went through there, all these other things happen. And then we still have, when they say the earth, you got to remember that all his brothers and shit, all of Enlil's kids and stuff, all his sisters, they were in their regions, being gods of their people in their regions. That's why Inanna's so popular today, still today. You don't hear much about all these other people. You hear about the devil, Satan. Satan's super popular, so Satan's got a following. But Lucifer, you call him Lucifer, Satan, and really, I don't know which one they're really following. It's probably the dark ones on the planet is what they're really following, because, one of them was Semyaza. Semyaza was just one of them. He just wanted to bang some, he wanted some booty. He wanted some girls, not men no more. So then we got Erich Kegel. That's the actual leader of the underworld. That's the queen. So, but there's a whole following for that one. There's a whole following for God in the Bible, which is all of them. Man, fucking all of them. It's talking about all of them in the Bible, right? And there's like other ones that follow like Abraham. I believe that's Muslim. Forgive me if I'm wrong on any of this shit. I'm not an expert. But that's like Enlil. You're following what Enlil had set out. Remember, because at these times, these people were still here talking to them. Enlil was the one who picked Abraham and said, hey, man, there's a problem happening. And it wasn't till after the nuclear bombs happened, then the earth fixed itself. They were able to come out from underground and they were able to start rebuilding again. And then thousands of years went by because they started after they blew everything up. That's when they started the count of man, right? And they were like, all right, let's leave this place to these people because we just fucked this place up with those nukes, bro. Let's not ever do that again. Never use our technology. We killed all our people, dude. So, hey, man, let's restart this shit. Once we get it rolling again, let's get the fuck out of here. But then the kids were like, hey, man, why can't we be the king of that place? We look just like them. She read it. The kids, the millennials, the down the road people were like, hey, man, I'm getting you. Hey, man, we look just like them. Why can't we be their king? And they were. That's what they were. And it goes down to all the way down to today. And you can track where the actual kingship of men changed from you got it in Nubia for a while, and then it's over here, then it's over there, then it's over here. Now the queen just died, long live the king. That's where it's at right now. All right, everybody, it's time to go eat. It's almost 4 hours, 4 and 1 hour. And we've been trying to eat for a long time. I thought this was going to be short, she said.
Yeah, he said.
She said it was going to be short, though. It was
supposed to be
18 pages of words.
Well, I didn't know I was going to do the glossary.
I didn't know either. You said you were.
I didn't.
You were like, yeah, I'm going to right now.
Well, that's... Thank you, everybody, for joining us on the last 14 tablet and a surprise glossary reading.
I don't know what
happened. We will see you next Sunday. Right now, we don't know exactly what we're going to talk about next Sunday, but we will make sure and post something on the TwizTD RootZ channel.
We should start with the flood.
And say, whatever it might be. And we will see you then for the next Ganja Gospel.
That's right.
Peace out, everybody. Much love. Stay enlightened. Where's my mouse? There it is.
There it is.
Find the truth. Don't hide from it.
It'll set you free.
Set you free.
Or get you high.
And it'll blow your fucking mind.
That's right.